Yo, this is Set with Set Media, man. I'm here to talk to you about our partner, Kalshi. Kalshi is the largest legal prediction market in the United States with over 1 million users. It's available in all 50 states. They are a real money market, people trading on what they think will happen. You can build a position and trade in and out of almost any prediction you think. Kalshi facilitates trade between people kind of like the stock market. There's no limiting your trades just because you're winning. Kalshi will pay you interest on your position. So if you make a long-term trade, you can earn a return even before the market is resolved. If you want to try out Kalshi, go ahead and give them a try, guys, at my link, kalshi.com/setmedia. Get $20 when you trade 20, so it's 20 for 20, guys. Once again, that's kalshi.com/setmedia. Go ahead and use my code setmedia to get $20 when you trade 20. Let's go ahead and take a look here at Kalshi, because like I said, it is a trading market where you can put in your prediction and you can go ahead and earn interest on that. You can make money off the knowledge that you know, and if you put $20 in, you get $20 back. So all right, guys, make sure to go check out my guy at Kalshi, because you can get in on good trades like who will Trump nominate as Fed chair, will Ali Khamenei be outed as the supreme leader, and will the US confirm that aliens exist before 2027. So if you want to get in on this action, once again, go ahead and go to my partners at Kalshi. Go ahead and use the link, or you can hit the QR code above and use Set Media to go ahead and get $20 when you trade 20. This is Set from Set Media, and shout out to Kalshi. Yo, and we are live. Yo, this is Set with Set Media, guys, and I'm back with another one for you. All right, guys, we're about to jump right into Fox News, and let's go ahead and decode the propaganda that they're about to spew to you right now. And then we also got a lot more other concerning topics to get into as well. But let's not forget to double tap that screen and like the video, and let's jump right into it, guys.
Fox News alert. Do we have a deal?
We're doing well. Now we have to get what we have to get. If we don't do that, we'll have to go a big step further. But with that being said, they want to make a deal. We've had very good talks over the last 24 hours, and it's very possible that we'll make a deal.
Here's the sad reality. We got to make a deal because we couldn't commit to Project Freedom, because there was no way we were going to either escort or give a guided route for these vessels to go through that would assure their safety. We just could not do it. So we pretty much just went back to the negotiation table and said, all right, let's see if we can actually get a peace deal with Iran, since we can't open the strait by military force and we can't guarantee safe passage either.
The president says if they don't agree, the bombing starts at a much higher level and intensity than it was before. Now, I know we've heard that before, but sources say an agreement has never been closer, and morale at the White House is through the roof.
I can tell you that
but an agreement isn't coming closer because we're threatening to bomb the crap out of them. An agreement is coming closer because we've tried everything. We realize nothing is working, and we're going to have to come back to the negotiation table and make some concessions. That's just the sad reality of how this war is playing out.
I was walking around in and out of the building yesterday, seeing a lot of action in the Situation Room with negotiators, and it looked like the mood was high.
POTUS told PBS that the Iran war has a very good chance of ending, and told Fox that this could be wrapped up in a week.
Well, I had a phone call with the president a short time ago, and he is optimistic about this this deal, this memorandum of understanding. Thinks it is going to lead to things. He's cautiously optimistic, I should say, but thinks. And I asked him what the time frame would be. He puts it at a week, getting everything wrapped up.
So what's in this deal? This is what we're hearing. Iran must swear off ever having or seeking a nuclear weapon.
No, actually, what's in the deal is that there's going to be a 10 to 20 year memorandum, aka they're going to swear off not going towards a nuke for 10 to 20 years. AKA Trump is pretty much just kicking the can down the road, and they're agreeing to do this if we release the sanctions on them. Pretty much we're getting back into the JCPOA, basically.
Cold turkey. Their 3 main nuke sites must be completely dismantled, and they can never do any work like this.
And guys, come on, man. Be fair to Jesse, man. He got a war to sell, man. What you mean? They pay him millions of dollars to sell you a war. You know, you got to respect the hustle. I'm playing. And guys, let's make sure we're double tapping that screen and liking the video, guys. Let's get more people in the conversation by double tapping that screen.
Ever again underground. If they start digging, we start bombing. Inspections on demand, anytime, anywhere. If they throw up roadblocks, harsh penalties. Now, here's the key piece to the deal. No more enrichment. And they hand over all of their enriched uranium. We get it. Trump was asked, well, is this a 20-year moratorium? Trump said, no, never.
But you just said never. No, that's the thing. Okay, no, guys, they're not agreeing to never enriching uranium. What they're agreeing is to the 10 to 20-year moratorium on their enrichment program, basically getting back into the JCPOA for sanctions relief. And I'm guaranteeing you Jesse's going to leave out the sanctions relief because it just pretty much just saying we're in the JCPOA 2.0.
No more enrichment ever. Iran must reopen the strait, and while they do, we'll relax the blockade. We might unfreeze some of their money, but no sanctions relief until they show they're complying with the deal. A part of the deal's already done.
This is very simple. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon because as tough as they are, we want to keep them alive. We want to keep all of you alive. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and they won't. And they've agreed to that, among other things.
This looks nothing like the Obama deal. Getting the uranium out, banning enrichment, destroying their nuke sites, none of that was in the Obama deal. And this is on top of shredding their military. And good luck rebuilding it because we wiped out all their defense factories and steel plants.
Yeah, no, that's not true. They have a lot of underground facilities inside of mountains, by the way. So no, we have not stopped them when it came to their military capabilities. Our own intelligence is telling us that they still have 60% of their Navy, thousands of missiles and drones. And let's not forget, these missiles and drones that they have by the thousands are underneath the damn country, underneath mountains that we cannot reach.
But the media doesn't believe any of it.
You're facing an opponent right now in Iran that has refused to submit. You seem optimistic now, so you may be closer to a deal. What's different about this moment now than in other moments where a deal has seemed close?
Well, why do you say they refused to submit? You don't know that. You don't know what's going on behind
U.S. ships a few days ago.
And a few days ago is a long time ago. What's not to submit?
Okay, that's funny. A few days ago, a long time ago. I guess if when we're talking about, war, I don't know. I really don't know why Trump said something that dumb. But I will tell you this. The problem is that we tried to test Iran's gangster. We tried to send ships through the Strait of Hormuz. They send kamikaze ships at us, these kamikaze drone speedboats. And luckily, well, thank God, we shot them all up, all 7 of them. But here's the thing, though. You know, that proved that we cannot provide safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz for these vessels. I mean, and here's the thing. We can make sure that our vessels are good. But the thing is, though, we're promising the world, or we did promise the world, that we can ensure their safety. And Iran has made sure to show the world that we cannot. And then also, I mean, what ceasefire? We're talking about we're firing at speedboats while Iran is firing into UAE. I mean, what ceasefire is going on here? Like, this is a really confusing ceasefire where everybody's firing off.
So they had a Navy with 159 ships, and now every ship is blown to pieces, and their leaders are all dead. So I think we won.
No one really knows what the deal is, and no one knows if Iran's even going to sign it. Neither country.
There's been no regime change, aka their leaders are still alive and they're still running the country, and they're still the same crazy mullahs that we know them to be.
Country trusts each other. They've taken Americans hostage, killed Marines, committed terrorism, and we've ripped.
I'm crying. Hey, nah, shout out to my man Known. He says, any Iranians on a 9/11 shadow commission? Nope. But I can tell you who are. I can give you a group of people who are.
Up treaties and killed the Ayatollah. But the president's being realistic. He says it's still too soon to send Kushner and Witkoff. He'd rather just do it over the phone. Because, as you know, no one can predict what the regime does day to day.
We've had some good talks before, as you know, right. And all of a sudden the next day they're like,
guys, like, I know I'm seeing some people in the chat saying, but their leaders are dead. No, guys, the Ayatollah, the guy who runs the IRGC, the guy that the IRGC answers to, is alive. He is fucked up, though. I heard they're getting him a prosthetic leg. They burnt his lips, but he's still able to, well, carry out orders and still able to lead. So no, the leadership is still alive. And I'm sorry, but how do you think they're doing negotiations? Like, the leader of their parliament showed up. So yes, their leadership is still alive, sadly, but they are still alive.
Forgot what happened.
Today, Wall Street erupted. The Dow shot up 600 points, close to 50,000. The S&P and NASDAQ broke fresh, all new highs. And Brent crude down over $10 a barrel over the last 48 hours.
I thought we'd be down maybe 20%, and we're up. The stock market's higher now than when we started this war.
I mean, no, that's true. The stock market is doing great. But here's a problem, though. Affordability for Americans is doing even worse than last year. So here's the thing. If you try to just sit there and say, oh, the economy is doing good because the stock market's up, no, that's just proving that, corporations are turning a profit. That doesn't equate to the affordability crisis that the American citizen or your everyday American is going through. So, yeah, that's not helping nobody by saying that the Dow is over 50,000, guys. Yeah, doesn't help nobody when it comes to rising gas prices and rising inflation. I wish it did. But it don't.
And I thought oil prices would go to $200, $250. It's at $100 now. And I think you're surprised, and I'm surprised. But even if it went to 200, it would have been worth it.
The bulls are out on the street. Billionaire money managers say they can see victory, and it was worth it.
It shouldn't be a bipartisan issue, right? You have a nearly nuclear launch capable Iran that we've set back in a very dramatic way. They've been the major driver of terrorism around the world. They're a fierce enemy of the United States.
True.
They threaten kind of global shipping, energy, etc. And now,
yeah, but they wouldn't be doing that if we didn't preemptively attack them because Israel wanted to attack them. We wouldn't be here if this war never started. And that's the problem that all the Republicans is going to have to face. When you guys talk about, oh, well, they're closing the Strait of Hormuz, this is an act of piracy. Yeah, I agree. But here's the thing. We wouldn't be dealing with this if you didn't try to blow them up. Well, actually, never mind. You did blow them up. You blew up the Ayatollah. You blew up their religious leader. And then what? You expected them to do nothing? Of course they were going to shut down the Strait of Hormuz. Of course they were going to attack our Gulf allies. Of course they're going to play asymmetrical warfare that we're dealing with right now because we attacked them. And here's the worst part about it, guys. Worst part about it is they told us they were going to do this before they did it. And once again, we test their gangster, thinking that they weren't going to do it, believing Bibi Netanyahu, thinking it was going to be like 4 days to 2 weeks. And now we're at what, day 68? And the Strait of Hormuz is closed. The regime is still in power. Their missiles and drones are still operational. Like, what's going on here? Because last time I checked, I was told 4 days, and then y'all moved the goalpost to 2 weeks. And now y'all just telling me to don't rush y'all. Or, well, what's the bullshit phrase? Short-term pain for long-term gain? You really think that's working with people? Like, honestly, guys.
President and our military are getting that completely under control. I think we're almost done. I think it's weeks as opposed to many months, or it's a few months as opposed to it's not years. This is toward the tail end of a war.
You know when the fighting's over? The French show up. The Charles de Gaulle aircraft carriers just crossed the Suez Canal and going into the Red Sea. Meanwhile, great news for American sailors. The USS Gerald Ford is headed home after the carrier broke the record for the longest deployment since Nam. The blockade, though, stays until we see the gay Ayatollah's John Hancock.
We have it very much under control. The blockade is unbelievable. The Navy's been incredible. The job they did is it's like a wall of steel. Nobody goes through. In particular, the Iranians, they're not getting anything through one way or the other, so they're out of business.
Today, the Iranians tried to test the blockade, and it didn't end well.
Central Command says an Iranian. Whoa. Now that is twisting the story. No. We tested the blockade and it didn't work out for us. We try to tell ships to go through, and their companies called them and said, yeah, don't listen to the Americans. I'm sorry, they're tripping right now. But they're telling us to go through. Yeah, don't listen to they dumbass. They're not even offering you protection. Just stay your ass right there. And boom. So here we are trying to say that, oh no, Iran was the one testing the blockade. No. We was testing Iran with the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. We try to get ships to go through. They ain't want to go through. Then we try to secure it, and they start sending out speedboats. So yeah, there is no securing the Strait of Hormuz when it comes to Iran. And here's the problem: we didn't even get rid of all the mines that they let out there. What we were telling people to do was pretty much, all right, look, we cleared out these mines here, go through. And if you're one of these guys on these vessels, you would be like, well, shit, you're gonna give us protection? Because I mean, what? We're just gonna go on to trust me, bro, that Iran's not gonna just start flinging missiles and drones at us? Yeah. That's what we want from you. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people just looked at us and was like, yeah, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Oh, hell no. You're tripping on that one. And guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support.
Flagged vessel attempted to breach the U.S. naval blockade earlier today. CENTCOM says the vessel was warned multiple times before U.S. forces fired on it. The shots came from the 20-millimeter Gatling gun of an F/A-18 Super Hornet that took off from the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier.
The quarantine's already turned around 52 ships. It's airtight. And Project Freedom was showing progress before Trump paused it.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, I'm glad that he turned around 52 ships, as if that helps out anything. Like, please tell me, how does turning around 52 ships help out the gas price? Help out the fact that there's a fertilizer shortage? Please tell me, what does that do for us? And, if you're telling us you turn around 52 Iranian shadow fleets, I mean, that's great. But the strait is still blocked off to what we need to get through as well. So putting a blockade on top of blockade, it doesn't really seem to work.
The first 24 hours, 11 ships sailed safely out of the strait. It appears that Trump paused it as a good faith gift to the Iranians so they can save face to get a deal done. Watching the U.S. Navy let every single ship in the world out of the Persian Gulf except yours would have been too much to stomach. The president can always redeploy our guided missile destroyers like the USS Truxtun and throw up another protective bubble if the Persians go back to their little games. These Iranian peace shooters didn't do a thing. The Truxtun has artillery guns on deck, mounted machine guns, surface-to-air missiles, and torpedoes, plus 400 sailors on board with Apaches and Seahawks circling overhead. Anything the enemy sends out, if it flies, it dies. If it swims, it sinks.
Yeah, and in relativity to our own equipment, to our vessels, yeah, we can protect our own stuff. The problem is, can we protect the oil rigs? Can we protect the other vessels that need to make it through so the global economy can get back to running again? No, we cannot assure their safety. And I mean, I know he's bragging about assuring our own, but that doesn't help out the situation at all. But, I mean, it does make you feel good about American military tech, does it not?
Even though we can get ships out, Lloyd's doesn't want to underwrite a voyage under enemy fire. They have to have confidence it'll be smooth sailing. Once confidence is restored, and it looks like that's going to be done diplomatically, we think, we hope, the strait will open and prices at the pump will come down, way down. The Chinese actually helped move this thing along. They had no choice. For the first time since the war, Iran sent a delegation to Beijing. The Chi-Coms put them on a leash and told the mullahs to quit the strait shenanigans and take the deal. A week before Trump meets Xi Jinping.
President Trump has put out publicly and privately messages to the Chinese. Do not help the Iranians right now.
No, what they're doing is securing their oil payments in Chinese yuan. They're making a deal, actually. So, no, because it's not about China reigning in Iran because, well, China can't really tell Iran what to do, be honest with you. But what they can do is try to play diplomat, just like Pakistan did. And Pakistan is kind of more on our side and China's more on their side. And here's the thing. They've been talking to China this entire time and nothing has been done. So the only way to get things, or to get the strait open with Iran, sadly, is to concede on some of our demands or to concede to their demands. And I don't want to do that. I don't want Iran to start running the Strait of Hormuz, but they're already naming it. They're calling it the Persian Gulf, and they're going to go through the Persian Strait. They're calling it the Persian Strait. They claiming it now. Like, they're not going to let it go. And here's the thing. They didn't have it before this war. So now, once this war is over, Donald Trump will be seen as the guy who pretty much not only gave Iran back some released assets, but also gave them the Strait of Hormuz. And how do you think that's going to look for the midterms? Cooked.
Now we're trying to isolate them. We're in a war with them. Do not help them out. So the Chinese are very cognizant of that. They don't want to upset President Trump before this big state visit. So yes, I think that these things are all connected.
Sources say the president wants to end the Iran war before his visit to China, and the Chinese do too. Their economy is starting to crack, and with the strait being choked, they're looking down the barrel of an energy crisis, especially since we flipped their last black market supplier.
It's been a great thing for Venezuela. The people are really happy. They're dancing in the streets because they have a lot of money coming in through the big oil companies that are all moving in. I was with ExxonMobil last night. The chairman was here. And we're talking about Venezuela, along with a lot of them. Chevron, they were all here last night. They all want to go there and elsewhere.
China's lost Iran and Venezuela, and we're wargaming right off their shore. The U.S. Army's been test firing Tomahawk cruise missiles from Python launchers in the Philippines. The missiles as precise as they can be. One source says, if you want to hit a window from a far distance, it lands directly into that window. And the Japanese showing a little muscle. The emperor putting on a show in the Philippines too, sending some of his surface-to-air missiles in China's direction. So the Chinese don't want any trouble, and neither does Iran. It feels like we're close to a deal. I know it's felt that way before, but as the
well, yeah, both sides are pretty much saying, you know what, we can get back to the negotiation table. And because both sides are pretty much echoing that, yeah, we want to bring an end to this war finally, gas futures have finally went down from, what was it? It was like at 100. Brent crude was at like 115. Now it's at $99, which is not good, but it's better than 118. And then what? WTI is back around, that 95, 93, 95 range, but it's way better than that 105 it was at just 2 days ago. So at least we're on the right track, and I can always be happy about that.
President says, we'll see what happens. And this just in, sources say Israel's not really happy there could be a deal. They hate the Iranians, don't trust them, never have, never will.
Nope.
And believe Operation Economic Fury is going to collapse the regime if we remain patient. So the next 48 hours should be pretty interesting. Be sure to like and subscribe.
Yeah, it sure will. Next 48 hours. And trust me, I'll be here to give you all the updates. Now, let's get into the next video, guys. And let's make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. And guys, look, I know we're going to deal with the Fox propaganda for a little bit more. And then we're going to work our way over to the left and independent media. But in the meantime, double tap that screen, like the video, and subscribe to the channel by hitting that icon above. Appreciate the support, guys.
War with Iran's regime appears to be coming together. News of a potential one-page agreement. President Trump is now touting great progress in the push for peace. And the punch of positivity is already having a fast effect. Oil prices have fallen below $100 a barrel. Markets are soaring right now. My team may pop that up as I'm talking.
Now go ahead and let me go ahead and bring that up for you, main screen it for some of the guys who are watching horizontally. And guys, you go ahead and watch horizontal for a better presentation. But yeah, this is what the oil prices are at right now. It's like I said, guys, before this war, it was at like what, 67. It was at $67 per barrel. Now we're at 99. So the only way gas prices are really going to fall if we can get back to that $50, $60 range. So yeah, we got a long way to go, and hopefully this war concludes. Well, tomorrow, that'd be great. But here's a problem. It's still going to take some time for the supply chain to catch up for oil prices to get back to normal. So we're probably going to be dealing with this for the next, like, what? 3 months at least, 6 months at the worst. But all right, let's get back to it.
Talking about it. But it's impressive how quickly that response was. And those oil prices will eventually hit gasoline on the market. I mean, all of this is positive. Let's see how long this holds. Iran is expected to respond within hours. So that deadline on them is tight. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. President Trump posted this on his Truth Social earlier this morning. Assuming Iran agrees to give what has been agreed to, which is perhaps a big assumption, the already legendary Epic Fury will be at an end, and the highly effective blockade will allow the Hormuz Strait to be open to all, including Iran. If they don't agree, the bombing starts. And the blockade will remain in full force and effect. Project Freedom, the movement of ships through the Strait of Hormuz, will be paused for a short period of time. Secretary of State Rubio with this on the military phase of the war. He said this late yesterday.
Their missile launching capability has been substantially degraded, and their industrial base, their defense industrial base, has been severely, severely damaged. So their ability to build a shield behind which they could hide their nuclear program was wiped out. That's a very substantial achievement, and that was the purpose.
No, it hasn't. And that's crazy because, like I said, our own intelligence have told us that no, actually, they still have thousands of missiles and drones that they have underground. So no, we did not take out their missile defense. If we was to literally try to go in there right now, they still have plenty of missiles and drones to defend us off. Actually, they just proved that they can still have missiles and drones because they just fired a shitload at the UAE and hit their oil refinery, and then they hit them twice. So yeah, that's not true at all, and they've kind of shown that to us in our face.
Of this operation from day one.
Their nuclear material in order for this war to end.
Well, that's one of the topics that needs to be discussed. I don't know about. I think you're linking it. The operation is over. Epic Fury.
And guys, let's be real. Did we not all hear the report of how they pretty much destroyed most of our U.S. bases? Like, yes. Iran destroyed some of our, actually a good amount of our U.S. bases. So as of May 2026, Iranian airstrikes damaged or destroyed over 228 structures. Yeah, 228 structures and equipment at 15 U.S. military sites in the Middle East. Key sites, particularly in Bahrain, Kuwait, and suffered significant damage to hangars, barracks, and air defense systems, with 7 U.S. service members killed and over 400 wounded, according to the Washington Post. And of course, you got the Washington Post, you got the News Republic, and then you got Ynet News, also reporting the same thing.
As a president notified Congress, we're done with that stage of it. Operation Epic Fury is concluded. We achieved the objectives of that operation. I'm not going to, we're not cheering for an additional situation to occur. We would prefer the path of peace. What the president would prefer is a deal.
Retired 4-star Air Force General Charles Wald will be with me in moments. First, let's go to Peter Doocy at the White House, where the news is moving very fast. Peter.
Very fast, Harris. And you were just talking about this. We've got the details of this 14-point plan, according to Axios. Under the banner, U.S. and Iran closing in on one-page memo to end the war. We've got these: a 5-year ban on nuclear enrichment, which would be less than the 20-year ban President Trump previously said he didn't like. There'll be limits of 4% enrichment after that.
Wow. So only a 5-year ban. So the U.S. and Iran closing in on a one-page memo to end the war. And this is what they're coming up with, guys. So let me know if you guys agree with this or not in the chat. So let's see here. We got a 5-year ban on nuclear enrichment. Only 5 years, not 10, not 20, but just 5. And limits of 4% after that, when they was at 3.67%, 67. But yeah, they're at 3.67% and under the Obama deal. Ban on underground nuclear facilities. I mean, yeah, but they'll still have their underground missiles and drone facilities, sadly. Vow to never seek a nuclear weapon. Well, guess what? They already had a religious fatwa already committed to doing that. So like that the old Ayatollah said, and they followed that actually. So you're pretty much asking them to do what they already were doing. All right, commitment to enhance nuclear inspections. I mean, they were already willing to do that, and end the restriction travel through the strait. Yeah, we'll see about that one. I mean, if we're talking about they're going to release it, open it up, not charge a toll, fantastic. If we can get that, that's definitely a win.
There would be a ban on underground nuclear facilities, a vow to never seek a nuclear weapon, commitment to enhanced nuclear inspections, and an end to restrictions on travel through the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump, though, is telling the New York Post it's too soon right now to schedule a new round of in-person talks with Iran. So this is a very high-stakes game of telephone, still led by Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner.
I'm not sure it's going to be one, but if there's a real diplomatic path and we continue to explore it, Steve and Jared are working on that very hard. If there is one there, it could be one that leads them to reconstruction, to prosperity, and to stability, and to not posing a threat to the world. The alternative is growing isolation, economic collapse, and ultimately total defeat.
We don't know how many Iranian leaders who ordered protesters a couple months ago murdered are still there, but a separate piece of this puzzle is avoiding future slaughter of protesters by arming them.
Do you plan to arm them soon?
Well, I don't want to say that, but yeah.
Why is everybody talking about this arming deal like we didn't already try that? You know, that protest, yes, we armed the Mossad and the CIA armed protesters in Iran during those protests in early January. We already tried it and it failed, and now those people are getting executed publicly. And there are about 4,000 of them in jail, most likely awaiting execution. So, yeah, guys, I don't know but if that's the best idea. And according to Iran and the verifiable numbers, only they took out about 3,000 people. That's terrible. That is absolutely terrible. So why do we want to try to repeat that without knowing surety that they will be able to, take out the IRGC and take out their regime? Because, yeah, I highly doubt it. I'm gonna be honest with you. And I know people say, well, S.E.T, 80% of them want to take out the regime. Well, guys, you got to understand. In the election controlled by the regime, 61 million people registered for that. How much of those 61 million people are going to fight for that regime that they registered to vote in an election that they control? Now, the voter turnout only happened to be about 30.5 million people. 30.5 million people voted in an election controlled by the regime. How much of those people will be willing to join along with Iran to defend their country, or the regime to defend their country, or that government? Do you know? Of course not. So why risk it?
I mean, people say, why aren't they protesting? They want to protest, but they don't have any guns. So you could have 200,000 people protesting and have 5 or 6 sick people with guns. And when they start shooting them right between the eyes.
And Reuters is reporting in a bulletin that just crossed that the Israelis did not know folks here at the White House were so close to a deal, if that is in fact where we are, so close to a deal. So the Israelis had been preparing to ramp fighting up with Iran until this morning.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, I'm looking at that Reuters right now. That seems very...
Well, guys, let's make sure we double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get those likes up by double tapping that screen. Appreciate the support, guys. Any question, comments, jokes, or disagreements? Feel free to super chat it in. Appreciate the support.
It's significant that they didn't know, because in the beginning it was the Roaring Lion operation and Epic Fury. Epic Fury now, State Secretary Rubio told us, is over. Your last quick one.
Yes, remember, Netanyahu and Trump were here at the beginning. Everything was happening together. So it seems like at the end, they are not necessarily coordinating as closely.
Peter Doocy, getting us started. I appreciate you. Thank you. And focus now, retired 4-star Air Force General Charles Wald, former Deputy Commander of U.S. European Command. Sir, great to have you. I want to start with that bit of news, with Israel and the United States maybe not being yoked as they were at the beginning of the war. Your reaction?
I'd be pretty surprised if the Israelis and the United States aren't in pretty much lockstep. I mean, you hear things in public, but there's a lot of discussion going on. Our main issue in the Middle East, frankly, besides the fact that Iran is so provocative, is the security of Israel and our GCC friends. And I think we need to stick with that. We won't, I don't think we'll waver from that. And that'll be the end state.
Look, it feels like, and we'll set just aside what happened today for a second, when Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that Operation Epic Fury yesterday was over, we could get a sense, and that's why you saw reporters really leaning in with questions on that perhaps something was on the horizon, and now word of a one-page deal. I want to get your direct thoughts on the strategy that has gotten us here in the last 24 hours.
Well, I think from my perspective, there's two things. One is the security of our friends, Israel, I mentioned, and the GCC countries in the Middle East. That's paramount. And then number two is for the Iranians not to have a nuclear capability. They're associated, but they're somewhat separate.
But all right, guys, let's go ahead and move on to, let's go ahead and meet in the middle here at News Nation. Because you know what? This guy had a pretty good, he made some decent points, I guess. Well, actually, you know who's who's actually been making some really good points lately on News Nation? Chris Cuomo. I'll be honest with you. He was cooking that man Scott Jennings last night.
Welcome to the program. President Trump is optimistic about his latest deal with Iran, but did he forget why he started this war in the first place? In a moment, Jack Sobek and General John Teichert on whether Trump is being bullied into accepting a bad deal with Iran. Also ahead, Jillian Michaels.
Well, in a way, you could kind of say he's being bullied because, well, think about it. 60 days or he has to address Congress in order to keep funding the war. And that means it's up to Congress. And they've pretty much met that 60 days. And I don't think they want to debate the whole, oh, well, was this ceasefire actually a ceasefire? And does that give us more time? No, then I don't think they want to go into that, I guess, that legal battle. And also, let's be real, the world is asking Donald Trump to hurry this up. The American people are asking Donald Trump to hurry this the F up. So he is kind of being pressured to end this war. And the only people who are asking him to keep this going is the Israelis and the Zionists.
On how some politicians would rather see Trump fail than lower gas prices. First, our Why It Matters segment tonight. We have lost sight of what is important with Iran. The pain the American people are facing from this war is real. Thus, the pressure on Trump to end the war is real. And that pressure is only helping Iran. The Iranian regime is responsible for killing more people than any other country in the last 50 years.
Hey, no, that's a really good point. Like, hold on. You're telling me he's being bullied for like being forced to follow the Constitution and, you know, the way we run things here in America? Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's how they're framing it. But no, he's not being bullied. He was always on the time clock and he ran out. And Lord knows that he did not convince Congress, nor did he convince the American people of the necessity of this war. So they were going to make him stop regardless. And he was going to have to conclude it in some way. And here's the thing. I mean, now that we're at this, now we're at the end of it, hopefully, praying. We didn't get shit done. The regime is still in power. And now we have to concede what? Like, guys, do you understand that this deal here doesn't really do anything? Regime's still in power. They still gonna have their enriched uranium. They're still good, bro. And here's the thing: the funny part about this is that they still have the power to close the strait whenever they want. So what do we really get in this 68 days? Of, well, the first 30 we was bombing the shit out of them, and then now like what the last 30 we've just been sitting here at a stalemate over the Strait of Hormuz. What did we get within these 68 days? Can anybody explain that to me? Well, I could tell you we get condemned by the whole damn world. We got higher gas prices, and which will also lead to higher food prices. Oh yes, and we also got embarrassed on the world stage. Sadly. That's what we got from this. I just want to let y'all know. And I'll tell you, and we'll get in the future, Dems pretty much running the midterms. And I don't want to see that. I know you don't want to see that, but y'all wanted to see bombs dropped on Iran. So guess what? You sacrificed the midterms to see bombs dropped on Iran. Are you happy now? Are you? Because I'm not.
It is in the tens of millions. They've also killed more Americans than any other country in the past 50 years. Here are just some of a few of the positives to come from Trump's war. Iran's Navy and Air Force no longer exist. Same for multiple levels of Iran's leadership. Whatever remains of the regime is now broke. They can no longer fund and control their terrorist proxies, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, the list goes on. This war has caused a realignment of the Middle.
Oh, man, hold on. Now we're just being delusional. hold on. So now that this war is ending, we're just going to try to sell the American people the fantasy of, oh, you know, their military's been decimated. No, it hasn't. They just showed us that they're able to still close the strait and that they're able to still fire into the UAE. Like, what part of, how does that look decimated to you? And the only reason that we're coming to a close of this war is not because, oh, they're scared of our attacks. No, we're coming to a close because we don't want to face Congress. But I guess they're ready to try to spin this to the American people as a win. And now we're going to be debating if the Iran war was a win or not, when this was obviously a loss for us, sadly.
Least behind the United States and Israel, whether you support Israel or.
And guys, I'm not saying that Iran beat our military, but no, Iran won in the terms of playing asymmetric warfare. And this is what I mean. They didn't have to beat the American army and push us back into America. That's impossible. All they had to do was stay in power. That's it. Hold control of the Strait of Hormuz and make us come to the table and concede things. That's it. That's all they really had to do. Oh, and hold our Gulf allies hostage through their missiles and drones. That's all they had to do, guys. They did not have to sit there and take our entire military up top.
That is unquestionably a good thing for America. The war also shows us the danger of an emboldened Iran attacking its neighbors, taking the Strait of Hormuz hostage and the world economy hostage. And most importantly, the war pushed back the clock on Iran's nuclear program. I can go on all night, folks. But if you are tired of me telling you about the things that have come from the war in Iran, here is Ken Griffin of Citadel talking about the conflict.
With this war, I believe the president has done a great service to humanity by curtailing and containing Iran's nuclear ambitions. The combination of the strikes on their nuclear facilities last year, this strike or this war this year has set back Iran's nuclear ambitions by years, if not a decade or more. And a nuclear-free Middle East is really important both to regional security and ultimately to the security of Western countries.
I mean,
what you said just there is unquestionably true. And it is easy for someone like Griffin.
I mean, hey, look, if they accept the 5 or 10-year memorandum, then yeah, technically we did went ahead and push their nuclear capabilities back by years, but we didn't do it by, well, destroying it. We pretty much did it by, hey, yo, asking them, hey, can you please not do it? Can you pretty please not make a nuke in the next, in about like 5 years? Like, pretty please, just don't go towards it. Pretty please for 5 years. It's not really the strongest position, but hey, I'm with it. I don't care as long as we get what we want.
And to dismiss the gas prices because he's a billionaire. Your average family of 4 spending over $100 to fill up the tank doesn't necessarily think, well, gee, it's okay we spend so much on gas this week, honey, because of Iran's nuclear ambitions are now curtailed. Mm-hmm. There's a reason for that, because no one is telling us that it is important. This is why Trump faces such enormous pressure to wrap up the war in Iran. It's true, Trump did not sell this war before he started it. Huge mistake. But Democrats and the media are doing everything they can to make a meaningful and important but unpopular war simply really unpopular.
Tensions flaring in the Middle East yesterday with renewed attacks, putting the fragile ceasefire on even shakier ground.
Donald Trump's reckless and costly failed war of choice.
Trump has no idea how to end this war, just as he had no plan when he started it.
Iran's leverage depends on President Trump feeling political pressure at home, and unfortunately that pressure is very real. Gas prices are up and support for the war is not.
This illegal war is based on lies, and it was launched without any imminent threat to our nation.
The good news for the mullahs in Iran, they don't need a sophisticated.
And here's a problem, guys. Look, I'm not a Dem. I'm not. But here's a problem, guys. When you guys gave the Dems such a good argument, well, yeah, you're right. There was no imminent threat. Yeah, I mean, Jeffrey's right, which I hate to admit, but yes, this was pretty much losing war, and it did not help us out, or we did not achieve any of our goals. Didn't help the American people out, and we did not achieve any of our goals at all. And now we're sitting here coming to the table, making concessions. Like, do you see how bad this looks? And let's be real. If Donald Trump sits down at the table and, even if he signs a deal and walk away, the Dems are just going to call him Taco Trump. The neocons are going to sit there and say he chickened out and he failed the Iranian people. So this is going to look bad all around from him. And he should have just never started the war. He would never be here.
Sophisticated propaganda network.
Nope.
Americans are seeing
feel bad when
something
you did it to
better
yourself.
for Iran than Iranian propaganda on their screens 24/7. Just think about the unending focus on gas prices. Can't turn on local news without it as a lead story.
We're starting this week with even higher gas prices.
Boy, drivers are really feeling the impact of what is happening in the Middle East right now at the gas pump.
It just keeps going up. Gas prices are now near or over $4 in Iowa.
New at 6, gas prices today have reached the highest daily average in the last 4 years.
That is all true, but Democrats in the media seem to have forgotten what they said about 5 years ago when gas prices spiked, and Biden's energy secretary talked from the White House podium.
To be really clear, obviously, the president does not control the price of gasoline. No president does.
The Taliban said of America's war in Afghanistan, we have the time, they have the watches, meaning the United States has the watches and the Taliban has the time.
Yep.
President Joe Biden botched the Afghanistan withdrawal because he played the Taliban's game. He proved the Taliban right.
I mean, and that's exactly what the IRGC did. They played the same game. They said, look, we're just going to wait it out until you guys got to withdraw, and then we'll just swoop back in. And the same game the Taliban played is the same game the IRGC played. Just wait us out, except they had way more cards than the Taliban, and they just waited it out until we had to concede.
It is truly baffling why so many are pushing Trump to make the very same mistake.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our news.
Pulling out of Iran. I mean, here's the thing. It's like we never really we don't have anything going on in Iran. At least we had something going on in Afghanistan, and people actually wanted to go with us. In Iran, well, they kind of don't like us right now. So it is what it is. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into this UAE ambassador's details decision to leave OPEC. So OPEC, sorry, not OPEC. But let's get right into it.
A new report describing a one-page, 14-point plan between the U.S. and Iran to end the fighting, open the Strait of Hormuz. I'm like Scott Bessent there. Hormuz, and limit Iran's nuclear program. Welcome to a brand new hour of America's Newsroom. I'm Dana Perino. I will get everything to start working here for the second hour.
Hormuz? Was that?
No, I said the Strait of Hormuz.
All right.
Last night I called it on the 5, the Strait of No Moves. I mean,
we'll get it right.
I know.
That's all good. Good morning to you, Dana. Lovely blue, by the way. I love that.
I needed the compliment.
All right, I got you. I'll pick you up. I'm Bill Hemmer. Good morning at home. Axios revealing details of the memo. Reporting the U.S. expects a response within 48 hours. So here we go now. President Trump temporarily pausing Project Freedom, which was the idea to escort ships through the strait, waiting.
Oh, guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen and hit that icon above to subscribe to the channel, guys. Appreciate the support. Let's keep it going.
For the Iranian regime to sign off on the current deal that Axios is reporting on.
Meantime, the U.S. naval blockade of Iran holding steady as President Trump warns bombing will resume if Iran walks away from the peace deal. Colonel Mike Jerrigan telling us last hour what the regime might be thinking today about this deal.
I think the Iranian collective mind is split right now. I think you have the IRGC that is furiously trying to remain control because it's the military arm and the oppressive arm against its own people. But also, I think that the guys that really have the degrees in economics and understand that they're going to have to pay for all these factories and bridges and things that have been destroyed.
Okay, now Lucas Tomlinson reports from Dubai, where there's been a lot of movement, 24 hours. Where are we at this hour? Lucas, hello.
Well, Bill, good morning. President Trump pausing Project Freedom about 48 hours after he first announced it, saying he thinks Iran could be close to a deal. Posting on X, quote, Truth Social, assuming Iran agrees to give what has been agreed to, which is perhaps a big assumption, the already legendary Epic Fury will be at an end, and the highly effective blockade will allow the Strait of Hormuz to be open to all, including Iran. If they don't agree, the bombing starts, and it will be, sadly, at a much higher level and intensity than it was before. Now, yesterday at the White House, Secretary of State Marco Rubio appeared to suggest major combat operations have ended.
Operation Epic Fury is concluded. We achieved the objectives of that operation. I'm not going to.
What were the objectives of Operation Epic Fury? To grind down their military that they still have, IRGC still in power, missiles still got, drones still got, Navy out there. 60% of it just happens to be speedboats, apparently. So, what was the operation? Actually, yeah, what was the goal of Epic Fury again, guys? Did y'all remember? Because I did hear people say it was about grinding down their military, but obviously that didn't happen. So hopefully I'm wrong about that. It couldn't have been regime change, because they've been saying, oh, it ain't about regime change, but they didn't want to sit there and lie to us and say that there has been a regime change. I mean, what was the goal again?
No, we're not cheering for an additional situation to occur. We would prefer the path of peace.
Now, more than 1,500 ships remain stuck in the Persian Gulf, including oil tankers and ships carrying fertilizer for our farmers. Another cargo ship was attacked yesterday by Iran in the Strait of Hormuz about 30 minutes before Rubio addressed reporters at the White House. Recall in early March, Trump said there would be no deal except unconditional surrender. Now, during the month-long ceasefire, the UAE was attacked for the past 2 days. So far today, all clear, Bill. Earlier this week, a drone hit the port of Fujairah, where a pipeline ships about 50% of UAE's daily oil output to the Gulf of Oman, bypassing the Strait of Hormuz entirely. And UAE's ambassador to the U.S., writing in the Financial Times about his country's decision to leave OPEC, saying it's not just about energy, and had this to say about Iran. Iran also still remains a member in good standing, even as it flouts the cartel's stated mission to ensure the stabilization of oil markets in order to secure an efficient, economic, and regular supply of petroleum to consumers. On Sunday, Iran violated the ceasefire and international law. Iran renewed its attacks on oil tankers and energy infrastructure in the Gulf. And General.
Yeah, and that is true. It attacked the UAE 2 times. And the reason they attacked the UAE is because they said that, well, they let the Israelis, they let IDF soldiers pretty much attack Iran from the UAE. And since they allowed that, and they considered the UAE basically a second Israel, they struck the UAE. So it wasn't really anything about the U.S. It was just pretty much UAE's alliance to Israel. And I'm gonna be real with you, man. The UAE, I mean, I ain't gonna lie. Well, due to what they're doing in Sudan, they kind of deserve it, but I'm just gonna let y'all study that on y'all own. But look at what the UAE is doing in Sudan, and you'll understand why I said that.
Keane and Kellogg also say Iran violated the ceasefire with those recent attacks. Iran says it is considering President Trump's proposal right now.
Okay, all waiting on answers on all of that. Thank you so much, Lucas, setting the table for us on a new hour.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox.
Let's get over to Hannity complaining about Obama, talking about Obama has lost touch. I mean, bro, trust me, so is Trump. He lost touch with his base as well. I mean, bro, when he started saying Mark Levin is MAGA, yeah, he lost. He's out of touch. He definitely lost touch.
We begin with someone who yearns for the spotlight, never ending. It has been nearly a decade since Barack Hussein Obama left office, nearly 18 years since he was first elected as president, and yet Barack is still refusing to ride off into the sunset with grace and something called dignity. Nope. Instead, he's now desperate for validation, but his most recent sit-down with failed, soon-to-be out of work, so-called comedian Stephen Colbert was an important reminder about the constant deception, gaslighting, pious lectures that divided a nation.
Can't overcome the politicization of the criminal justice system.
I mean, look, I agree with you, but here's the thing. Y'all didn't say nothing under Biden, and this is why we're dealing with it now. So I do hate when the Dems complain about it, because here's a problem. Y'all should have talked about it under Biden. You should have held your own accountable. So when it pops off under Trump, nobody's going to sit there and look at y'all like a bunch of hypocrites. Because you guys talking about it now, you guys look like a bunch of hypocrites. And it is happening. No, it is. So I'm not going to sit there and say that it's not. Yes, him going after Letitia James and Comey, he's doing it out of spite. He's doing it out of retribution. But y'all can't act like y'all wasn't doing the same thing. So, hey. Don't start what you ain't ready to finish.
We will address that directly in a second. But remember, we're just a bunch of bitter, angry Americans that cling to our God, our guns, our Bibles, our religion. He, of course, was hanging out the Church of GD America with Reverend Wright, palling around with admitted domestic terrorists, Bernardine Dohrn, Bill Ayers. Obama wrote the book on weaponization and politicizing justice. Remember his Attorney General, Eric Holder, bragging about being Obama's wingman. And for years, with the help of his wingman, Obama routinely targeted his political enemies, journalists that ran negative stories. They were wiretapped, classified as traitors, business leaders with the wrong views. They were targeted. Some were even jailed. The GOP's rising star at the time, Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell. Remember, he was
Oh, guys, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support, by the way. But let's make sure we, let's make sure we push the stream by double tapping that screen.
Destroyed by Jack Smith over a series of cooked up convictions that were all unanimously overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court. And here's the big one. The 2016 Republican nominee for president, Donald J. Trump, and his campaign, his transition team, and his presidency, remember they were spied on by Obama loyalists that were gaming the FISA court system. But it wasn't just the courts. Remember, it was Obama who weaponized nearly every powerful lever of government against political opponents. And of course, that includes the IRS. Remember that little scandal? The FBI, even the intel community. And for the record, remember how the Russia collusion hoax began? It began, according to a 2025 report from the Director of National Intelligence, we now know, quote, new evidence uncovers Obama-directed creation of false intelligence reports used to launch years-long coup to undermine President Trump and the American people. Now, remember, Obama personally, they had an intelligence, an ICA report that career senior intel officials, no, Russia did not impact the 2016 election. Well, he didn't like that conclusion. So he had a meeting in December of 2016 in his Oval Office at the time. And guess what? They came up with a new one to fit his narrative to go after Donald Trump. Ultimately, this weaponization of government resulted in 88 cooked up felony charges against the Democrats.
No, that is true, though. What was it? I believe it was John Brennan. I think he was the director at the CIA at the time. Yeah, and he was the one that came out with the Steele dossier. And I believe, Obama did pretty much say, all right, well, this isn't reading what I wanted to read. So can you make it do it? And John Brennan was like, all right, bro, I got you. We're going to make this man look like a complete criminal and Russian spy. And they did. And he was dealing with it for pretty much, well, till this day, actually, people still think Donald Trump's a Russian spy and that he was getting urinated on by hookers in Russia. So till this day, people still believe it.
Chief political rival and a famous mugshot seen around the world. But Obama is now deeply worried about Republicans because the GOP just doesn't act in good faith, doesn't care about the rule of law. Really? This is the same Barack Obama that set Trump up for a phony hoax? Now, talk about worst impulses. You mean really? Obama, his party that opened?
Look, man, I'm just going to say both sides do it. Both sides tap into people's worst impulses, especially the left when it comes to Trump and the way they demonize Trump, demonize ICE, got people wanting to shoot him, wish death on him, and everybody else that works with him. So, yeah, let's be real. The left brings out the worst in people, and so does the right. Be real with you. The right, I mean, you guys have been bringing out straight bigotry. That's it. The left, they bring out radicalism. You guys, y'all bring out bigotry. So, yes, you both be on bullshit. Not all of y'all. I'm not saying all y'all do it, but there is some unchecked individuals on both y'all sides that be doing some craziness, that be talking some craziness.
In the border, 12 plus unvetted illegal immigrants from over 200 countries, known terrorists, murderers, rapists, child molesters, other violent criminals, cartel members, gang members. They eliminated bail, reduced prison sentences for violent offenders. They blocked deportations for even rapists and murderers, wiretapped journalists, tried to throw an opposing presidential candidate in prison for the rest of his life on fake victimless crimes that no one can even recall without an extensive Google search. And the guy that gave billions to Iran, what did Iran do with that money? Oh, that's right. They built out their nuclear program, the ballistic missile program.
I mean, shoot, what we're about to do with Iran. Yeah, we're about to help them do the same thing. Trust me, because the only reason they're gonna stop, they're gonna pause their nuclear programs is because we're gonna release some frozen assets, lift some sanctions, and start sending these guys back money. So trust me, we're like Trump. He's about to do the same thing Obama did with the JCPOA, and I wonder what Hannity will say if he sits there and cheerleads it. I ain't gonna lie, bro. It's like he's gonna lose all credibility at it. Well, he's already lost a lot of credibility with a lot of you guys, but it's gonna be final with me at a certain point. I'm just gonna be like, bro, it's the same thing to JCPOA that you said was a bad idea, that you said was giving, billions to terrorists. Trump's about to do the same damn thing, and those same terrorists that you hate so much are still in power. So I hope he has the same energy. Just keep that energy, my buddy. Keep it up.
They fomented terror around the world. That's the party that cares about the rule of law. High from his ivory tower at one of his multi-million-dollar estates across the country, Obama has not only lost touch with reality, but it appears the former president has lost the ability to even tell a decent lie. But the good news tonight, Obama is now forced to witness his entire legacy go completely down the drain, compliments of the man that he tried to destroy. All right, thanks for watching. Check out my new podcast, Hanging Out with me, Sean Hannity.
But I guess let's get into some decent news for the Trump administration. Let's get into some decent news. That's because, we're not here to just bash on Trump all the time. We gotta give him some, some grace every now and then. When there's some good news, I'll report on it. When he's on his bullshit, like always, I'll report on it. But you know what's crazy? Last year, Trump was not tripping like this. He was not tripping like this. I don't know what BB did. I don't know what they told him, but hey, this man started tripping, and so did the rest of the Republicans. They all started praising this war. Some of the Republicans are now talking about amnesty for undocumented immigrants. And now we got Republicans talking about, oh, you should be happy that you're paying higher gas prices because Iran doesn't have a nuke, something that Iran, never really had. So like I said, they're basically telling you to pay higher gas prices for no reason. And you should be happy about it. And if you're not happy about it, you're un-American and you're a traitor. Oh, and God forbid you're a conservative who's thinking this, because then you're just a Dem and you've always been a Dem. I know, crazy, right? But don't forget to double tap that screen, like the video, guys, and let's get right back into it.
President Trump making it clear in Indiana, it is still his Republican Party. The president vowed revenge against 7 Republican state senators who defied his demands last year to redraw Indiana's congressional maps. Tuesday, he got that revenge. 5 of those 7 incumbents were defeated in their primaries by Trump-backed challengers. Just one Trump-endorsed candidate lost. Another race still remains too close to call. The president's allies flooded Indiana with $13 million in advertising this year in the state's Senate primaries.
Man, that AIPAC money is kicking. Boy, they getting their money up. It's the same thing in Kentucky too, guys. Bro, AIPAC put in like $10 million into Thomas Massey's opponent. If you ran against Trump, or if you went against Trump in any way, shape, or form, the Republicans are primarying your ass, and they're putting millions of dollars behind it. They got all the propaganda, all the cute little AI videos in the world to make you look like a piece of shit. But did you see what they did to Thomas Massey? Bro, they made it seem like he was having a threesome with Ilhan Omar and another, I think, AOC. And I was like, bro, y'all are tripping. And first off, man, I'm not going to comment too much on that, actually.
Compare that to the $280,000 spent in 2024 on state Senate primary ads in Indiana, in all races combined. The sweeping victories for the president are a major boost to his sinking poll numbers nationally, and a warning signal to Republican lawmakers about what could happen if they defy him. CNN's Arlette Saenz joins me now. It was a big night for the president and those people who he backed. What are you hearing this morning?
Well, Sarah, President Donald Trump got the political revenge he was looking for in Indiana last night. These state legislative races typically fly under the radar, but the president's allies poured millions of dollars into the state to make good on his wishes to defeat those state Senate Republicans who had defeated his redistricting effort in the state.
And this is why we have this two-party system right here, is because there's no parties outside of the Democrats and Republicans that can generate that type of money. If there was, if independents, if libertarians can get the same type of payroll or cash roll that the Republicans or Democrats had, they'd have a chance. But due to the fact that they don't, and like I said, they're pouring $10 million into these guys. And like I said, in Kentucky, they did the same thing. They're pouring millions of dollars into anybody who is going against Trump. And trust me, the Dems do the same thing as well. If you go against the overall agenda, they'll primary your ass as a Dem. So yeah, it's really hard to get out of this two-party system when there's this much money in politics. So when people like Cenk Uygur said, I ain't gonna lie, this one needs to be one of the main things we need to take care of is money in politics, I absolutely agree. Because it's a problem.
At least 5.
It's a glaring problem. It's like in your face right now. It's in your face every day when you talk about politics.
Of the 7 state Republican senators who voted against redistricting were defeated by Trump-backed candidates. Only one has survived so far. That's State Senator Greg Good of Terre Haute, Indiana. And there's one race that is still too close to call between State Senator Spencer Deary and Paula Copenhaver. Deary last night defended his votes against redistricting. Take a listen.
Oh, guys, you got any question, comments, jokes, or disagreements? I'll be happy to read it out loud and engage with it. Just $2 and up. Appreciate the support. And don't forget to double tap that screen and like the video.
I swore that I was going to lead by principle and strong conservative principles. And the idea that the government should be able to draw new maps anytime it wants, not after a census, takes power from the people and gives it to the government. And that's far from conservative. And so there was never any question. But I also overwhelmingly heard that my voters didn't want it. They didn't want me to do it. And so that only reinforced me.
Fair.
These election results could potentially embolden Republicans in other states as they are pursuing redistricting efforts. We have really seen a slate of southern states try to push forward on redrawing congressional maps. One of the states we're watching quite closely is Louisiana, where the state's governor actually delayed the U.S. House primaries in order to give the state legislator more time to redraw those maps. But these results in Indiana really showcase President Donald Trump's grip on the Republican Party. His approval ratings nationally are failing, but it shows that he still has significant sway within conservative circles, something to watch heading into these consequential midterm elections.
All right, Arlette Saenz, thank you so much for your reporting there.
So it looks like President...
Nah, it's just that the billionaires and the millionaires inside the conservative party, or inside the Republican Party, they're still willing to throw millions behind Trump. That means any candidate that he greenlights, they'll throw millions into. And it's coming from it's coming from AIPAC, and it's coming from, third parties of AIPAC, AKA, I guess this whole being bought out by Israel has some truth to it. Because I've been tracking these guys down, and it all leads back to, our favorite country out there in the Middle East.
Trump got his revenge in Tuesday's Indiana primaries, and it is proving that it's still his Republican Party. Last night, at least 5 of the 7 Trump-endorsed challengers defeated incumbent GOP state senators in Indiana, and these are the ones who had broken with the president and voted against the redistricting plan. Indiana Senator Jim Banks wrote on Twitter, "Big night for MAGA in Indiana,
crazy.
Proud to have helped."
It wasn't even anything that serious. Not like they went against them on the big, beautiful bill or the Iran war or anything serious like that, like Thomas Massey. No, it was just, no, we don't want to redistrict. And they just got primaried for that. That is ridiculous. I think that's doing too much. It's like they're on your side, but they just didn't go along with your slightest command, with every command. Oh, yeah. Y'all tripping on that one. I really don't agree with how this turned out. I would say not that I don't agree. I don't like the way this turned out, because it kind of shows that, inside the Republican Party, nobody can check Trump.
help elect more conservative Republicans to the Indiana State Senate. I wanted to follow up on this. It's a coda to a story because back in December, when Indiana was looking at its redistricting maps, and I want to put up the map for you. This is the map that Trump wanted, that Republicans wanted in this redistricting battle. Okay, like the goal was to get rid of those little blue spots there, and a couple of people pushed back. In the end, the Republicans didn't go for it, and there was a lot of political writing that was like, cracks in the coalition. This is people writing that people really thought, look at this, it means something. And like, I don't know if it did.
Well, no, I think it meant something, but the blowback also means something, right?
Yeah.
Mitch Daniels and a bunch of sort of normie Republicans working behind the scenes.
I love that you call them normie.
Yeah, at least he's not a.
But all right, though, let's see what Fox News says about it.
Are greatly exaggerated. Like the rumors of MAGA's demise are greatly exaggerated. Trump-backed candidates in Indiana mopping the floor with the incumbents last night, sending 5 state Senate Republicans who crossed the president on redistricting into early retirement, with a 6th race too close to call. Pretty good record when you consider that 47 endorsed just 7 candidates. Cue the liberal media wine fest.
They knew what was coming if they stood up to Trump. They stood up to him anyways. I just wonder how different you think our country and our politics could be if more Republicans had that in them.
If we're all actually talking about what we believe in, that is better than Republicans repeatedly having to feel pressure to either lose their career or do something wrong because the president is demanding it.
Democrats can complain all they want, but they can't deny Trump's golden touch still untouched. Jessica, yesterday he was showing off his classic charm, teaching kids the Trump dance and cracking jokes in the Oval. Watch.
Are you a strong person?
Yes, sir.
Good. You think you can take me in a fight? How about you? What sport do you play?
I play volleyball, and in the summer I'm trying to get into soccer.
Wow. And with your height, do you smash the ball, the volleyball?
No.
You get up high. Can you jump high?
Not very.
Soccer might be better.
All right, Dan, I know the redistricting is, it's an aggressive strategy, but the media built this up pretty high. The Trump, this is a big test whether he still had clout.
Right. And so they were hoping the answer was no.
I was.
And I think what the Trump political machine showed.
No, I'll be real. It was. It does show that Trump still has a strong grip on the Republican Party, and that, like I said, the billionaires and millionaires are still willing to throw millions behind this man. I mean, Indiana's case in point.
Of money, they still have organization, and they're really good at beating other Republicans.
They are.
So will they be as good at beating Democrats in the fall? We'll see.
Yeah.
Possibly. The Democrats don't have as much money, and they don't have as much organization as he has. So I think the Republicans benefit certainly from having him be in the lead. And I know it's kind of frustrating sometimes for the White House to say, well, why aren't these guys pulling their weight? They should be out there talking about the big, beautiful bill. But I mean, the other thing is, though, President Trump dominates the headlines. He wants to dominate the headlines. He blots out the sun. And so they can't really complain also that they're not out there because the president drives every media cycle over and over again. One thing I'm really interested in is how unpopular, both parties are unpopular. Congress is unpopular. Everything's unpopular. But the Democrats had this unpopularity problem, and how they figure out how to deal with what we were talking about in the A block, which is the rift, even though Obama doesn't think it really.
Yeah, a lot of Democrat politicians still can't come to the conclusion that, well, you're not really going to win off the fuck Trump agenda forever now. You actually got to hit your people with some policies. I mean, look, you can disagree with the man. We're not mad at that. I mean, please tell us your disagreements, but also what's your solution? Like with tariffs, like, all right, great. You disagree with tariffs. You don't like it. All right, give us your solution to bringing back American jobs and make it make sense. Because usually when I hone people down on this, y'all don't really got an answer. Like, y'all didn't really want to give an answer to the border. Trump had to give y'all that one. So the problem is y'all complain or y'all bitch too much about Trump and haven't really made any real policies of y'all own that we can sit there and be like, okay, this is what the Dems stand for. This is their plan. We don't know y'all plan. All we know is y'all plan is to just attack Trump at any point, at any time, anytime he F's up. Like, that's y'all plan? Is you think that's gonna fix America, just attacking Trump? And what, when you're in office, then what? because all y'all have shown us is that when y'all get in office, you'll just go against Trump like Abigail Spanberger did with affordability. She gets in office and then makes affordability worse. You don't think that, kind of slid y'all base, or I'm sorry, but y'all didn't kind of make y'all base feel a certain way about that? Now that he can't trust you because they know you just used the fear of Donald Trump to get them to vote for you, and then you're just going to do everything that you said that you weren't going to do. I'm sorry, but Dems, y'all don't really got no strong candidates either, sadly. None that I'm scared of.
Exist, but you have far left progressives looking like they're edging out establishment Republicans. And does that mean, establishment Democrats, then does that mean it gives Republicans a better chance to have better margins, or at least certainly keep the Senate, or keep Democrat wins down to just single digits?
Yeah, that's a risk for sure. Jessica, aren't you glad we brought back competition? Obama kind of watered everything down. You just had to participate and you got a trophy. Now we're going to have kids boxing each other.
Yes.
Getting in really good shape.
Yeah, the FIFA Peace Prize winning president that brought back real competition.
That's right.
Okay.
Drop and give me 20.
All right. I agree with everything that Dana just said about last night's results. Also bragging about 5 of 7 races in a state that Trump won by 19 points does not seem like the own that the Republicans think that it is. And we'll see what happens if it's even a Trump plus 10 state, for instance. And also, I think one of those seats that now has a super MAGA Republican is actually a swing district. So we'll see if that ends up hurting them longer term. But I get it. It's the immediate dopamine hit, and you could play, on loop crying libs or whatever. He's intervened in redistricting quite a bunch, and he has lost on that front quite a bunch. Virginia and California lost on Prop 50, then tried to use his DOJ to politicize it, gets up to SCOTUS, and SCOTUS says, actually, no, they can use the map that the people legitimately chose. It was a ballot measure. That's how democracy works. And I get it. You got to put your best foot forward. You want to be in campaign mode. But this victory lap against the backdrop of approval ratings in the low 30s, the war in Iran is now more unpopular than the Vietnam War, which nobody's a fan of. 25% approval rating on cost of living, which is the #1 issue to people. Our economic
and yeah, that's what a lot of people are failing to admit as well. Is like, look, it's kind of funny because a lot of people before this war was admitting that, yeah, Donald Trump was voted in to pretty much fix the economy, bring down affordability. It was like the #1 issue. And now all of a sudden they're kind of switching it up to, no, it was immigration. No, it was immigration, guys. Like, what you mean? We can have a bad economy, but at least he fixed immigration. Like, okay, bro. Okay, idiot. But yeah, no. Let's keep it real, guys. We did vote this man in to bring down gas prices, to help out more with affordability, to bring back jobs. And we have not been getting that. So I'm sorry, I'm not just going to sit here and keep supporting somebody who is not giving us what we voted him in for. We voted for no new wars, and he really ain't give us that. We voted for lower gas prices. He's not giving us that. And inflation is ticking up. And when the inflation report comes out for April, I'm telling you, most likely it is going up from that 3.3%. Hopefully not up to 4%. Hopefully.
ID index at the lowest in recorded history, and Democrats are now up +10 on the generic ballot. I don't want to be a Jesse Waters and say blue tsunami coming our way, but if this is what's really exciting you at the moment, you are not paying attention to, what is it, the forest through the trees?
That is a good way to describe it. I did not choose this segment to do on the 5. Just saying, I'm not all excited about.
Do you want to switch for the fastest?
We're just doing what we're told to do. Paul.
Okay.
You are
do what you're told to do, Paul.
A couple of things here. This is a double-edged sword, because if Trump is the party, what happens post-Trump, right? You got to consider that. And, you always hear, well, there's going to be Trumpism post-Trump. Is that possible? Because the guy is such a tsunami of personality. And is there another one out there? You hear Vance, you hear Rubio, et cetera. And, that's a debate for 3 years from now. But the bottom line is, if it takes Donald Trump to get you over the finish line in races that matter, And you got to say to yourself, well, what happens when he's not around, because he's human like everybody else. I think.
Yeah, but that's a good and a bad thing, because some of these people actually like their congressmen. We just kicked them out, or we got them primaried because, well, we could put a whole lot of money behind their opponent. And this is why we should also keep money out of politics, because, and be real with you, this kind of disenfranchises the people. Instead of the people getting the candidate at day one, it's the corporations that get the candidate at day one. AKA, honestly, now it's the president who gets the candidate at day one, because he can command millions of dollars behind whatever candidate that he wants in that office. And the people really don't get a choice, honestly. And I know you're saying, well, said it's the people who vote for them. And here's the thing, though, but it's not on equal footing. I mean, even Thomas Massey was admitting that, back in the day, I was fighting these guys with like a $2,000 to $400,000 budget. And he was taking on people with $2, $3, $4, $5 million. And he's able to win because he just had the better policies. It doesn't work out like that for everybody. That means Thomas Massey was just that good of a politician, or just that good of a candidate. In other ways, people could like their congressmen, but they can get voted out if there's enough money put behind them. You put enough money behind them, you can get enough new voters out there. You can sell enough propaganda, ads, all that good stuff. I mean, it's just the blessings of having a big budget when it comes to, running for any type of office. It's just, this is why a lot of people just bend the knee to the corporations and the big donors. Why? Because a whole lot of money damn near guarantees you a win.
What's going on here is the following. MAGA, in most people's mind, comes down to a common denominator of just a couple of things. And I think primary among them is safety, the border, and then, of course, economic conservatism, and they look to the market. And that's why Trump's always invoking the market. It's a very shorthand way of looking at things. And I think the Indiana results are resultant of a current frustration on the right and in the party. And I think one of the places it resides is the SAVE Act. There are a number of things that the right really, really wants and feels like they're not being heard. And so whether it's redistricting, et cetera, these things are all the usual political machinations. They're just getting to the second power. But I think there are things here that the Republican Party sits back, the electorate, and says, we had the House, we had the Senate, we had the president.
But all right, though, let's go ahead and get into something else. I feel like we didn't cover this enough. All right, but let's get into how unpopular is Trump's ballroom and all these conspiracy theories surrounding the ballroom, since every MAGA influencer wanted to come out after the attempted assassination and be like, this is why we need a ballroom. It's like, what? Hold on, the president, like, bro, a guy just tried to run up on the president and you're talking about a ballroom? Like, it's for extra protection. Yeah, and an underground bunker that they won as well. Oh, yeah, now they're asking the American people for $1.5 billion. So, do we really want that ballroom? Do they really need it? Or maybe they just need to up the game of, Secret Service. Because according to the guy himself, or Colin Allen, the guy who tried to take out Trump, he even said, this was way too easy. The fact that I was able to check into this hotel and be able to take a shot at the president like this should not be possible. But it was. So I don't think a ballroom is necessary. Maybe they should just up the game of the Secret Service. That's good. That's good. Requires less of the taxpayer money.
$1 billion of taxpayer money for East Wing construction at the White House. This would be security for the new proposed ballroom that the president swore would be funded with all private donations. Now, on social media, the president just wrote that the cost has gone up because the ballroom is now twice the size and of far higher quality than what was originally proposed. CNN chief data analyst Harry Enton is here. Harry, just basic question, like how popular is the ballroom?
I never thought I'd be discussing ballrooms with John Berman, but here we go. It's the ballroom heard around the world. And, I recall the shot heard around the world, Bobby Thompson, 51. That was popular. This is most certainly not popular. Just take a look here. Okay, privately paid. This is a privately paid. And now, of course, we're talking about potential public funds going to it for the security. Privately paid new.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When it was privately paid, I was cool with it. I was like, okay, well, I don't care. Like, you're telling me a bunch of billionaires that are paying for this, whatever. But now you're saying that you want the American people to pay for it as well. And now you're trying to make it a necessity that the American people need to pay for. I'm sorry, but cut the bullshit. We're not paying for no goddamn ballroom. If you can't get the billionaires and millionaires to pay for it, well, I guess you got to rebuild back the West Wing, bro. Get it done. You ain't better not use our dollars, because now I'm opposed to it. And I was supporting it when, what was it, Apple, Amazon, and all these other big companies were paying for it. But if you're telling that we got to pay for it, oh yeah, you're tripping.
White House ballroom. Look at this. In October of 2025, 56% opposed it, just 28% supported. Now, after all of the press that the president and Republicans have been trying to make in terms of making this ballroom popular, you know how much it's moved in terms of popular opinion? It hasn't moved at all. It's just as unpopular now as it was in October. It is 56% opposed, just 28% support. And I will note, Mr. Berman, that I have my little nugget down here, just 18% of independents support it. This ballroom is simply put unpopular.
28% doesn't seem very high. Put 28% in perspective.
Yeah, I'm going to put 28% in some perspective to you, because to me, as I said at the beginning, I never thought I'd be talking about ballrooms, because ballrooms are just not my style. But
I'm be real with you though. If he'd have sold it as something that, you know, the American people could use, you know, once they go through a background check and all that good stuff, then maybe, you know, maybe. Because then, you know, then your average American, or maybe, you know, somebody like a school graduation, like a school can use it for graduation or something like that. I mean, that would have been cool. But you're telling me it's just for, you know, the high class officials. I mean, damn. So we're building a ballroom for the elitists? Yeah, that just don't sit right with me. I'm sorry. If y'all can't do it yourselves, don't ask us.
Americans who support or believe in ghosts, that comes in at 39%. How about telepathy? That comes in at 29%. And the new White House ballroom comes in below both of those at 28%. So the bottom line is this new White House ballroom is most certainly not popular. More Americans believe in ghosts, and slightly more, though within the margin of error, believe in telepathy. And I will note that our cameraman right now is laughing like nobody's business.
So this has to do with the idea of priorities. Like, what's important to you? Where do people want to see the president put his attention?
Nah, it's like, bro, well, like, people believe in ghosts more than they believe in this damn ballroom. It's like, all right, bro, yeah, Trump, you're doing too much. And like I said, we'd all gracefully look past this if this was still being funded by the corporations. But since it's not, now we got to put a magnifying glass on it. And rightfully
yeah,
so.
okay. So, you know, this is all ridiculous. But how about this? I mean, just take a look. Why is this ballroom such a problem, I think, for the president of the United States in terms of popular opinion? Americans on Trump has the wrong priorities. I mean, how much has he been talking about this ballroom, man? My goodness gracious, we're talking about 67% of Americans who say that Trump has the wrong priorities. How about disapprove of him now on government spending, right? Because now all of a sudden that security is going to be funding this, and this is going to be public funds. Disapprove of him on government spending. We're talking about that same 67%. So the bottom line is this. Ghosts, more people believe in ghosts than believe in this ballroom. And a lot of folks just disagree with Trump on government spending and believe he has the wrong priorities, like this ballroom.
What are the prediction markets saying about whether this thing will even get done this term?
Yeah, okay. So what's the chance that the ballroom is completed before 2030? It's been going down. It's been going down, Mr. Berman. The chance that the ballroom is done before 2030.
Enough grilling Trump about the ballroom and its unfavorability. Let's get into something that's a little bit more concerning, right? Let's get into the BS that the Pentagon is doing. Seven top AI companies signed Pentagon deal for classified work. And I'm just like, yeah, that is highly concerning. Like, what y'all need to classify? I don't like that. But let's get into it.
The Pentagon just inked a deal with several big tech companies to use their AI tools, 7 in all, including Microsoft, OpenAI, Google, and SpaceX. But not looped into that deal, Anthropic. It's been blacklisted by the Trump administration over the company's demand for the Pentagon to...
Because they're a real one. Because the Anthropic, what was it? I think it was their founder that was saying, look, bro, we don't want our weapons to be... we don't want our technology to be used to kill people. And I think they also said they don't want it to be used to surveil citizens as well. And the government was just like, bro, what do you think we're going to use it for? Like what? You thought we was going to use it to help the American people and make things easier on them? No, dude. We're going to use it to kill people and surveil people. Like, bruh, really? Like, man, show this guy the door and add him to the blacklist. Apparently, this guy want to play stupid. And that's pretty much just how it went between the U.S. government and Anthropic.
Include certain safety guardrails when using AI in warfare. Let's get more now from CNN AI correspondent Hadass Gold. And Hadass, look, this is a very obvious leaving out of Anthropic. Tell us more about this deal.
Yeah, so until recently, Anthropic's Claude was the only AI model that could be used on Pentagon's classified system. A lot of the other companies had deals for unclassified systems. Anthropic's was the only one that could be used on classified systems. Then they had their disagreement over AI safety guardrails. Anthropic wanted guardrails around their AI being used in autonomous weapons and in the mass surveillance of American citizens. They had this disagreement with the Pentagon. The Pentagon then labeled them a supply chain risk. They are fighting that out in court right now. And so the Pentagon had to replace Anthropic's Claude with something else on their classified system. They started with OpenAI's model, and now they've announced these deals with 7 other tech companies. Some of them are very well known, like Microsoft, like Amazon. Reflection is a smaller AI company. It's open source, and they're trying to bring in all these companies. That's, good. You want as many tools as possible for the Pentagon to be able to use. But I wanted to point out that there's a bit of cognitive dissonance coming from the Trump administration when it comes to what they're doing with Anthropic. Because on one end of the administration, you have the Pentagon, which has declared Anthropic a supply chain risk, saying that they are essentially a dangerous company and nobody who does work with the military can use their products. But on the other end of that, you have the White House, which recently had a meeting with Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei, meeting with Susie Wiles, the White House chief of staff, the White House calling this meeting productive. I know that just this past week, or just this week, Anthropic was at the White House again to have a meeting about cyber and AI. Axios is now reporting that the White House is actually working on guidance that would allow agencies to get around the supply chain risk designation and onboard their new models. So is this company so dangerous that it's a supply chain risk, or was this about policy?
Guys, let's make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. And if you have any question, comment, jokes, or disagreement and want to support the show, just send in a super chat. Appreciate the support. And also double tap that screen.
Politics and a disagreement publicly, and I'm sure these issues will come up in court. And the reason behind this is just Anthropic makes really good models. They're one of the top AI companies, and I think a lot of parts of the administration are recognizing that, especially when it comes to cybersecurity and the risks that are posed by AI-powered cyber models, you want the best possible tools available to you, and I think that's why you're seeing a bit of this cognitive dissonance. These other companies, as far as we know, they have agreed to for their AI models to be used for all lawful purposes. It seems as though that might have included the issues that Anthropic was worried about.
Yeah, but the problem is, what do you mean by lawful? Like, what do y'all mean by lawful? Because I'm still a bit, lost on that. Because, like, what? Is using AI to take out people lawful? Like, I don't know. Like, that's the troubling phrase to me. They're using it for lawful reasons. Do you guys trust that? Because Lord knows I don't.
Maybe they didn't have those same guardrails. And we've seen some pushback from some of their employees, including Google. Hundreds of Google employees signed an open letter trying to argue that their executives should not sign this deal. One of them even publicly calling it shameful. But Google has said that they're proud to sign this deal, and they are going to be working with the Pentagon on this. Jess.
Okay, more to come on this. Hood Oswald, thank you so much for your reporting.
Just a short time ago, the Wall Street Journal reported that the Defense Department has come to an agreement with several top tech companies to use their artificial intelligence in classified settings. It comes after Axios reported on a meeting between the Army and some of those companies. Sam Sabin of Axios broke that first story, and she joins me now. Sam, it's great to see you. Can you explain maybe to our viewers who are seeing this as breaking news, the Pentagon has agreed to use some AI in classified settings, why that's news and why that's important?
Yeah, so I think for those who are blessed to not be thinking about this day in and day out, this maybe is shocking. It seems like the Pentagon is signing a deal with literally.
All right, now I have to look this up a little bit here. So let's see here. The Pentagon is integrating AI into classified networks through deals with major tech firms, Google, OpenAI, NVIDIA, etc. Now, once again, for lawful operational use, focusing on intelligence analysts, logistics, and targeting identification. I freaking knew it, but let's see here why AI accelerates decision making. The Department of Defense maintains that human operators must maintain responsibility and appropriate levels of judgment over the use of force in line with 2023 directives. All right, well, let's hope they stick to that.
Every major AI company that it can find to use their tools in classified networks. But this has been part of maybe a months long, since February, back and forth with the Pentagon. And it started with Anthropic, which is the maker of Claude AI, where there was a huge fight between the Pentagon and Anthropic about how to use Claude in classified networks. Anthropic didn't want their tools used for things like mass surveillance. The Pentagon was concerned about an AI company setting terms on how it can be used when they have laws and authorities that dictate how they can even use certain technologies to begin with. And it's been an ongoing back and forth. The White House is involved, like every department, agency, et cetera, has been involved in this brouhaha that's been going on since February. And at the same time, for weeks, we've seen other AI companies, think OpenAI, the maker of ChatGPT, or Google, which has Gemini, making side deals with the Pentagon as well.
And so you reported on this meeting with these, AI companies and the Pentagon. Meeting about what exactly? Was it a discussion or was it an ask from the Pentagon?
Yeah, so the meeting that happened earlier this week was with the U.S. Army, specifically the U.S. Army Cyber Command, and then their other organization, Cyber Command, which is happening, which has within the Pentagon. What they did on Monday was maybe unrelated to this, but kind of underscores how quickly the Pentagon is moving into deploying AI technologies. They met on Monday with about 12 or so companies.
But all right, guys, let's get into a bit of international coverage here. Iranians face uncertainty, skepticism as Trump claims the deal. Trump claims deal to end the war. Let's get right into it with some international news.
Let's get more of what's happening in Iran and the view there on this negotiation, and speak to Sarah Odeima, who's an independent journalist and is joining us from the Iranian capital. Sarah, thank you for your time. So President Trump hinting that a deal to end the war is near, while the Iranian Foreign Ministry says it's reviewing the U.S. proposal. How do ordinary Iranians view this moment? Are they hopeful that the war could soon end?
Well, according to the latest observations, what we've been witnessing at the present time in Iran is a great deal of uncertainty and skepticism among the Iranian society. This is because of the fact that Iranian people have actually experienced repeated cycle of negotiations and escalations without actually getting to a conclusion and a meaningful result over the years. So what is worth mentioning here is the fact that what matters most to Iranians is that stability. It's not a matter of politics, diplomacy, negotiations, or any of these things. It's mainly about the practical impact and consequences of the crises on the country. Let's say the economic pressure, the inflation, and the long-term stability. These are the main concerns of Iranians, because considering the observations in Iran, we can see that Iranian people are severely suffering from economic pressure. So that's a huge concern in Iran.
Yeah,
so
you talk
we can
about
say
the
all in
economic
all that
pressure.
Iranians.
Yeah, let me just ask you about that.
Yes.
When you talk about the economic pressure, what is it like for people? And do people then fully support the leadership, or is the support cracking with this economic pressure you talk about and the hardships people are feeling on a daily basis?
Oh, guys, just to let you know where we're at right now. So pretty much, let's see, the Iran and the U.S. are working on a 14-point memorandum of understanding that would kick off a month of formal talks to end the war, with negotiations potentially resuming as of early as next week in Islamabad, Pakistan. The framework would see Iran ease its chokehold on the Strait of Hormuz during the 30-day talk periods, while the U.S. winds back its blockade of Iranian ports. The core nuclear acts is no enrichment for 12 to 15 years. Iran ships out. So Iran ships out its stockpile and snap inspectors and ban on underground facilities. Okay. And Trump said that allowing Iran to enrich at 3.6% afterwards is not part of the deal, which Iran has floated as a condition. Trump's version, if they don't agree, the bombs start. So we'll see, guys. We'll see what happens.
Well, when it comes to public opinion and what people say, we can say it's a complicated and complex issue in Iran, to be honest. We can say that in Iran, there is a wide range of people from different groups. People are divided into different categories. Let's say there is this category, this group of people who are still strongly supporting the leadership and those who believe that the foreign military presence in the region is a huge threat for the security and sovereignty of Iran. And on the other hand, there is this group of people who are completely frustrated at what's happening and the current situation in the region, and particularly because of the economic tension, because there's an increasing rise in everyday product cost. Like we can say, when you want to go shopping or purchase a product, everything is increasing. The price is increasing at a rapid pace. So people are trying to survive in this unpredictable situation, and they are waiting. They are taking at the present time a wait and see approach to see what's going to happen next in this time of the negotiation.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for bringing us a view there from Tehran. Sarah Odeima, an independent journalist in the Iranian capital.
And all right, guys, let's get over to the next one here. And guys, like I said, of course, there's people that still support the regime. And here's the thing, guys. Like I said, I do like to go back to the 2024 elections because 30.5 million people voted in an election controlled by the Ayatollah. So how many of those people are willing to stand up to U.S. aggression and want to fight them if we were just to go ahead and put weapons, give weapons to the opposition, or just put boots on the ground in general? And, you know, if you look at that honestly, you're going to see why we don't put boots on the ground, and also why we shouldn't even try to give weapons to the opposition, because we're just going to get a whole bunch of people killed like we did in January. But all right, though, let's get over to the new one.
Messages from the US and Iran on the progress made towards a peace deal. In the latest development, Iran says it's reviewing a US proposal to end the war. The foreign ministry spokesman says Tehran will submit its response through Pakistani mediators, while President Donald Trump says the US is dealing with Iranian leaders who are, quote, very much wanting an agreement. He's also described talks over the past 24 hours as very good.
They want to make a deal badly, and we'll see if we get there. If we get there, they can't have nuclear weapons. You know, it's very simple. If we left right now Iran, it would take them 20 years to rebuild. You would call that, we're in good shape, right? Fantastic. We're in good shape. And now we're doing well. Now we have to get what we have to get. If we don't do that, we'll have to go a big step further. But with that being said, they want to make a deal. We've had very good talks over the last 24 hours, and it's very possible that we'll make a deal.
All right.
Let's bring in Rasul Sedan.
It does look like things are heading in the right direction. So, hey, positive vibes here.
In Tehran for us. So, Rasul, the Iranians have the latest U.S. proposals. What have they been saying about it, and when are we expecting a response from them?
Well, there hasn't been any deadline announced by the Iranian authorities here. Just 2 days ago, Manasher Muttaqi, who is an MP in the Iranian parliament and also a former Iranian foreign minister, he said that in a 2 days' time, Iran's response is going to be sent to Pakistani mediators to be conveyed to the USA. So there are expectations that today that response perhaps is going to be sent out from Tehran. On the other hand, so the Iranian authorities are saying that some of the terms that Americans have written down for them are unacceptable, unrealistic, and maximalist. But they're saying also there has been some remarkable progress in this diplomatic engagement. So what the Iranians are confirming now, they have a proposal, and they're saying that they have a three-phase approach. In the first phase, Iranians are insisting that it's going to be exclusively about ending the war at all fronts and getting the guarantees that the war is not going to be renewed. And the guarantees...
And all fronts mean, you know, Lebanon and in Gaza as well.
must come from the United Nations Security Council, and then lifting the American blockade and reopening the Strait of Hormuz. However, while Iranians are saying that, they're also insisting that Iran is going to, one way or another, going to extend its sovereignty and control over the Strait of Hormuz, because they believe the strategic environment has changed since the beginning of the war, and Iran is not going to give up on the Strait of Hormuz. And if this first phase is achieved in the next 30 days, so they are saying that in the next phase, second phase, they are open to discuss and to negotiate their nuclear file. They're showing some certain flexibility. However, still, they're saying that they're not going to give up on the right of the enrichment, peaceful uranium enrichment. And in the third stage, this is what Iranians are saying, without the participation of the Americans, Iranians are saying that they're ready to engage with the regional countries for a strategic security new order in the region. This is what we know. And except these points, the Iranian officials are insisting that anything else at this stage, Iran's missile programs, Iran's the nuclear program, or Iran's regional security policies, its relations with the...
So here's the thing, and I mean, we're kind of conceding to this. We're saying that, yeah, Iran, you can have your nuclear weapons program. So yeah, we're letting Iran keep their nuclear weapons program. We're letting them keep their enrichment at that 3.6% or 4%. So yeah, they're still going to be enriching. Oh yeah, we still don't have their missiles under control, nor their drones, and those are really big problems. Those are two specialties of Iran, is their missiles and drones that we still don't have under control, that we sit there and say that's they use as a shield for their nuclear weapons program, right? The nuclear weapons program that they don't have. So wait, what did we win? Wait, what did we succeed in? What goal did we accomplish? Because every time I think about this, I'm just like, hold on now, we didn't complete a goddamn thing. And we're right back here at square one with, well, damn near, but we have to get back into the Obama deal just to get the Strait of Hormuz open. In a way, Iran got what they wanted.
Non-state allies of Iran are off the table.
Thank you very much for the update. Resource Serdar live for us in Tehran.
But let's see how it works out. Let's see what they agree to, what they say in media, and what they, actually agreed to, is always going to be different. So let's see. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and get into some independent media. Apparently, what was it? Steven Crowder is getting tired of Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly covering for Islam, apparently. And guys, here's the funny thing is, I'm going to go ahead and get my opinion on this as well. And the reason why is because, well, people think I'm Muslim, but I'm not, which is hilarious. But I do know Muslims, and I also know a lot of Christians as well. But here's the thing, though. I don't agree with the whole Muslim hate, because all that does is just, it's just propaganda to feed us into the next war in the Middle East. And if you continue to hate Muslims, then they'll continuously be able to lead you into war into the Middle East. Why? Because you just hate Muslims so much. And for no reason. Y'all don't even have their religion down pat. The thing is, y'all been fed propaganda about a religion that you have zero understanding of. And then here's the thing. You guys walk around like you have full understanding of it. That's the scary part about it. But let's get into it.
Lately, he's gotten very, very popular lately, I read, with Muslim viewers, because he's been standing up for Islam.
There are some new listeners here. Oh, yeah. New listeners like this.
These days, Tucker Carlson has a big fan base amongst the anti-war left, who see him as saying the right stuff, trying to stop Trump from illegal wars in Iran, and amongst a lot of Muslims and Arab Americans who see him now as this great champion of Palestine.
This brings us to, and I reached out, asked for her to, she's been on the show many times. Haven't heard.
Nah, shout out for Tucker Carlson on his work on Palestine, though. I mean, yeah, he's doing a damn good job. He's exposing the atrocities that's going on there that needs to be exposed, and letting the American people know that, this is what our funding to Israel goes to, the reckless slaughtering of Palestinians.
Back more recently. So I just want you to know, I have no personal ill will toward Megyn Kelly. We've had a pretty good rapport. But she did just say this. I think it was yesterday. Was it yesterday? It might have been 2 days ago.
May 5th.
Okay.
So,
So
yesterday.
Yeah. So yesterday. And this all happened within 24 hours, really 48 hours, when you see Candace Owens saying we have to heal the fracture with the left. Nick Fuentes, who's been on the show, saying, I'm a moderate Democrat. Tucker Carlson,
I mean, here's the thing, though. Yeah, we kind of do, because here's the thing. You got, and I would just say there's the sensible people on the left and there's unsensible people on the left. You know, the unsensible ones, I believe in open borders, transgender surgery. I mean, all that crazy stuff that, you know, we stereotypically place on all people on the left, but really just a very small minority. So, yeah, let's just keep it real. We do need to low key fix our relationship with the left and understand that there are sensible Dems and we need to talk to them instead of this saying that all of them want an open border, all of them want transgender surgery, all of them want socialism when they don't. When they don't, actually. There's a lot of people on the left that actually are capitalists. I mean, considering there's a whole lot of billionaires on the left that are capitalists.
Saying for a while now, he regrets telling people to vote for Donald Trump without providing a viable alternative. And now Megyn Kelly saying, you know what? Actually, maybe I was wrong about Islam, but most important, there's an audience here.
He's casting a wide net now. You know, once he said that he's sorry that he endorsed Trump, he regrets it and feels like he has to make amends. And his show is doing fine. It's not like he's hurting for audience, but I think he's understanding there may be some new listeners over here. You know, like he's gotten very, very popular lately, I read, with Muslim viewers because he's been standing up for Islam.
Now, to be clear, I've never been to the White House. I didn't go to the inaugural ball. I've never.
I mean, here's the thing, though. It's not like the man's talking about, oh, convert to Islam today. No, he's just saying, look, we should just really stop, like, hate. I'll be real with you, overly radicalizing Muslims. Like, we say a lot of things about Muslims that just aren't true at all whatsoever. And then we say the most egregious thing about them that's just not true at all whatsoever. And then we take a small group of them and then frame it as the entire, like, 2 billion of them. So, yeah, there is some things that we do need to correct ourselves on Islam if we're even open-minded to do so. Because there's a lot of closed-minded people who just want to believe that Islam is just the most evil thing in the world. And that's only because it hypes up their supremacy about their own religion. Like, you know, Steven Crowder.
Never endorsed anybody until this very last election because I believed it was so consequential. I did endorse Donald Trump. And by the way, I don't regret it. I am glad that he is president of the United States. That's just a difference of opinion. You guys let me know if you think I'm a sellout because I'm glad that Donald Trump is president as opposed to Kamala Harris. Doesn't mean he's perfect, but that's the key. There are some new listeners here. Oh, yeah. New listeners like this.
These days, Tucker Carlson has a big fan base amongst the anti-war left who see him as saying the right stuff, trying to stop Trump from illegal wars in Iran, and amongst a lot of Muslims and Arab Americans who see him now as this great champion of Palestine. Wherever I go, literally, Hassan, wherever I go in this country, I do a lot of live events. I do a lot of public events.
See, like this comment right here. Like, I suggest you read about the history of Islam and the number of countries that's violently taken over. Okay, great. Well, how many countries have Christians violently taken over? How many countries have Hindus violently taken over? You don't know, do you? Because you've only been hyper-focused on Islam and you don't really look at the entirety of history. Because if you understood the entirety of history and ancient civilization back then, everybody was an imperialist. It was the only way to ensure the survival of your people when resources were very scarce. And if you understood where these people came from, basically in the desert were very few resources, and with a growing population, they had no choice but to be expansionists. Not because of Islam, but because of the necessity of resources through a growing population. That's something that the Muslims did, the Christians did, the Hindus did, and the pagans did. So it's literally like you guys just forgot all of the entirety of ancient civilization and the entirety of history on how humans behaved and how civilizations moved back in the day.
People come up to say, when are you going on Tucker Carlson? When are you going to do an event with Tucker Carlson? Why don't you do a collab with Tucker Carlson? We love Tucker Carlson. Wherever I go, people ask me more about Tucker Carlson, even in my own family, than they ask me about my wife and kids.
I will guarantee you this, by the year 2028, Tucker Carlson will be infinitely more popular in the Republican Party than Donald Trump. Infinitely.
Look, guys, it's humiliating. Tucker Carlson's fighting against this war more than any of the Democratic leaders.
The Islamic regime right now is literally broadcasting Tucker Carlson interviews in Persian on their 24-hour news channel.
Which was hilarious.
Now, that doesn't mean because there are some people who are left politically, who can watch somebody. It doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It's fine. I get it. You want a broader coalition. But when those people who, by the way, seek to subvert the United States, any doubt about that with Mehdi Hassan?
Right.
Any doubt with...
I mean, okay, well, are you going to have the same judgment of Israel then? Because they constantly try to subvert the United States into conflicts in the Middle East. And a lot of these conflicts in the Middle East have created the radical Islamists that you bitch about today. Isn't that crazy? Like, really? Yes. Yes, Middle Eastern intervention has created some of the radical Muslims we see today, we fear today, and we bomb today. That's the problem with sitting there and fear-mongering on Islam, because here's the thing, it's not Islam, it's the fact that due to our, interference in these people's government, we've radicalized them towards Americans, and they just use Islam as honestly, just as a channel through it, because yes, in their religion, if they're being violently attacked, they are supposed to conduct jihad. If people are building military bases on holy sites, they're supposed to do jihad. I'm sorry, but if Muslims start occupying like the Vatican or Christian churches, you guys will lose y'all shit, and rightfully so. So it's kind of crazy how we understood if somebody did it to us, we'd react the same way as the Muslims do, but we criticize the Muslims for acting the same way that we would.
Cenk Uygur, by the way, the Young Turks, he denied the Armenian genocide for a very long time until he said, I was wrong about that. I promise I would never do the impression again. Oh, so the people who vote, as we just saw in the elections, they don't matter so much. It's the Mehdi Hassan crowd. It's a very clear pivot with, again, no reasoning beyond I say so. And here's Megyn Kelly. I want to know the flash of genius moment. What's changed?
I have to tell you, Mark, it's been something I've noticed just since I've gotten sort of more clear-eyed on Israel, that a lot of the anti-Muslim rhetoric that's put out there originates with people who are very, very pro-Israel.
Yep. And thank you, Megyn Kelly. Yeah, it's pro-Zionist propaganda. They want you to hate Muslims, so you think it's okay to recklessly bomb and kill Palestinians. So you think it's okay to overthrow these Muslim countries because you're releasing them from Islam, when really you're throwing them into, destruction and turmoil. Really, you're turning them into a civil war state. So I'm sorry, guys, but I don't know how this is not easy to see. They get you to hate Islam, so you're okay with the stabilizing Muslim countries because you think they're being free to Islam, when really they're being free to their sovereignty.
Who kind of need us to demonize them.
Right.
And I've taken a look recently at my own rhetoric on this to say, like, have I been manipulated? I want to make sure I'm not getting manipulated. But I think he's having a lot of Muslim viewers flock to him. I know for a fact he has a lot of young men flocking to him. And so while he may have lost some contingent of the Fox News audience that's very, very pro-Israel and pro-Trump, and you can't say anything about Trump, for every one of those who leaves, there is another newer, younger audience member who does want to hear these traditional lines challenged and hear just new independent thinking. I mean, I'm experiencing some of that myself, and Tucker probably times 10.
Yeah, a couple of things. Want to hear these traditional lines questioned. Do you mean the traditional lines like Islam is the religion of peace, and to question it is Islamophobia, which we had to live under?
Well, yeah, it's like saying, think about it like this. Christianity is a religion of peace, but there's been multiple Christians throughout history who committed atrocities. So, and I mean, that's the same thing with Islam. Islam is a religion of peace. If you read the Quran, it does preach for peace, but the men who worship Islam have committed atrocities, just like Christians, just like Hindus, just like Jews. So what's the difference here? And why are we picking and choosing? And if you ain't willing to call out the rest of them, then what you doing calling out Islam? You're just not being intellectually honest at this point.
By the way, we got that from George W. Bush as well, and certainly an entirely complicit media, to be clear. Do you mean that? Because that's
crying.
what we've been...
Hey, no, I heard that one on Twitter. That's hilarious. It's not Islamophobia. It's pattern recognition. It's like, no. I mean, here's the thing. Y'all not really scared of Islam. Y'all just intolerant. So we're going to call y'all Islam intolerant or whatever. But let's be real with you guys. You have an unnecessary hatred of Islam based on propaganda, not facts, on propaganda, and a lack of understanding on history.
Questioning. She's just, and the people who have really pushed this line of thinking, pro-Israel and have to, well, okay, what if someone has...
Here's the funny thing is, well, we don't jihad. Yes, y'all did. What was the Crusades? That was a jihad. Y'all went over there. Y'all did forced conversions. Y'all took land. Y'all killed people. There was graping going on. I mean, bro, just because you put a different name on it don't mean it wasn't the same thing. Like, come on now.
Happens to be pro-Israel, but it's irrelevant to their view of Islam. There are plenty of people, by the way, who are not pro-Israel who have the same view of Islam. Let me ask you, these lines were pushed by those who are pro-Israel. Does that change the facts? Does it change the fact that, let me ask you this, has this changed? Did Muhammad wage wars? Yes, he did. Did Muhammad beat...
Yeah, but Muhammad is a man, and the thing is, what you don't understand about Islam is they don't worship Muhammad, they worship Allah. Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, so they don't worship Muhammad. They worship, like, basically they worship the same God the Jews do. They're monotheistic all the way through. So when you guys sit there and try to make it seem like, oh, the whole religion is based on Muhammad, that's where you already got the religion fucked up already. Like, already you got the religion fucked up. And what you guys think is out of the Quran actually comes from these hadiths. These hadiths just happen to be, I guess, historical recordings of this man's life, and there are authentic and unauthentic ones. And I don't even want to go through that with you guys, but like I'm telling you right now, a lot of you guys don't understand it whatsoever. But make sure I got his point down.
By those who are pro-Israel. Does that change the facts? Does it change the fact that, let me ask you this, has this changed? Did Muhammad wage wars? Yes, he did.
And Muhammad didn't wage wars because of Islam. No, he didn't do that. He waged wars because of, well, like I said, they were in the middle of the effing desert. Like, guys, we know today that the Middle East lacks resources, but oil, but it does lack the farming ability. It does lack water, and they had to expand because of resources. And that's what all empires were doing at that day. The Christian empires were doing it. Of course, the Muslim empires were doing it. I mean, back in the day, the Jewish ones were doing it and the pagan ones were doing it. So I'm sorry, but it's just kind of unfair to sit there and say, oh, well, theirs was about religion and ours was just about expansion. No, everybody was about expanding. Everybody was about procuring resources as their population grew.
Did Muhammad beat his wife? Yes, he did. Did Muhammad have a child bride? Yes, he did. To be fair, he only fucked her thighs from 6 to 9, Aisha, and then took her fully. Did he call for the deaths of Christians and Jews? Yes.
It does not say that whatsoever in the Quran, nor in the Hadiths. That's what I'm saying. It's like they add their own like interpretation of it, but no, it did not say that whatsoever. And here's a weird part. You know, Aisha, you know, the one you guys like to harp on, oh, she was 9 years old. Yeah, you're going on one side of a historical debate. So there's the debate that she was 9 years old, and then there's the debate that she was like 17 or 18, according to the age of her older sister. And this is what, you know, historians have been looking at for like years now. So you're, like I said, you're just taking one side of an argument and then completely spinning it. And also, you know, that was his third wife, right? And you know, his fourth wife, I mean, not his fourth wife, but his first wife was like what? Basically like 30 or 40 years old. Second wife, 40 years old. So if he's a pedophile, why was his first two wives older than him? You know, you can look this up. No, look it up. Because Aisha, they make it seem, I bet you didn't know this, because the way they make Aisha seem like this was this man's first wife. But no, Aisha was his third one. And I mean, if he's a pedophile, I mean, he's out here marrying what, 40-year-old women now? I don't know about that. Like, and then also if we want to go into that argument, and I do give people this argument because a lot of Muslims do believe that she was 9 years old. But here's the thing. Back in that day, that's what everybody was doing, sadly. Everybody was doing that. Christian, Jew, Muslim alike, everybody was marrying off women at very young ages, sadly. That's just what the times were doing across the board. So, I mean, it's bad, but I mean, that's just what they were doing back in the day.
Yes, he did. Have Muslims...
Shoot, I mean, bro, some people still do it today in Muslim and Christian countries.
Every single century since its inception expanded through violent conquest? The answer is yes, they have, regardless of the state of Israel.
Yeah, were the Crusades an expansive conquest? Yes, it was. Yes, it was. So who are we to judge? And people want to say, oh, yeah, but it was a response to Muslim takeover. Yeah, but you went over there and killed a bunch of Muslim Jews and also Christians who are living peacefully under Muslim rule. So I don't know how you reconcile with that, but all right.
Israel, to be clear. And do we find ourselves today, because of all of that, because of the founder of the feast and because of his instructions, do we find ourselves today with a crumbling Europe because of Islamic migrants and 198 million Muslims worldwide who support the use of violence against civilian targets to defend Islam? Yes, we do. So what amongst that has changed? Is it because someone who happens to be Jewish or happens to be pro-Israel?
Yeah, but bro, there's a lot. I mean, no, like I said, 2.5 million Muslims, and everybody wants to harp on the extremists. Like I said, y'all not being good faith about this. If all you're gonna do is harp on the extremists when you know majority of Muslims aren't bad and don't believe in none of the shit that you guys are talking about, or the way you're just slandering the religion. So if you guys understand that it's only what 100 million out of 2.5 billion, then why are you trying to make it seem like all Muslims are bad? Why are you trying to make it seem like this is a religion that should be feared? Like when you guys know it's a small majority out of the 2.5 billion that he just admitted himself.
Also understands those facts to be true, because I've always been critical of Islam for the same reasons that I'm critical of Islam today. The facts have not changed.
Well, Muhammad did have slaves. He did slaughter a few hundred Jews, and some of his last words were cursing the Jewish and Christian people. I'm still not seeing how someone could interpret this religion as violent.
Actually, no, that's not true. Actually, Muhammad actually allowed people to Christians, Jews, and Christian Jews and some pagans live peacefully under them. And I know y'all want to say, oh, but they have to pay taxes. Yeah, but the Crusaders came through and didn't even offer a tax reason and just killed them. So, I mean, who was better?
And there we go, Aisha with a black eye and a fat lip. Oh, look at that picture.
Yeah, and you see, it's just straight slandering. It's like, you're not even being good faith. But it's funny, though.
And in the spirit of full disclosure, Muhammad had many wives.
Yeah.
Not Muhammad.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. Why don't you name those many wives? I mean, since you know so much and you want to call him a pedophile, well, name the fact that his first wife was older than him, his second wife was older than him, and Aisha, the third wife, was the one that was younger. But y'all don't ever had that to there, do y'all?
Shut up! You don't know the boss of me! I sincerely think the world would be a better place. If every Muslim acted like Muhammad, according to modern law, they'd have to be jailed.
Allah is going to finally get to decide, by the way, not covering up your whole body, that's a bad deed. By the way, wanting equal rights, women, that's a bad deed. By the way, free speech, that's a bad deed. So every single person who isn't a radical Muslim gets no grace from Allah.
Actually, no. You've completely misinterpreted the Quran if that's what you got out of it. Not at all. Actually, well, think about it like this. There's a lot of scholars in Islam and they all debate. Just like there's a lot of scholars in Christianity and they all debate. Why? Because there's criticism allowed in Islam. And if there wasn't criticism allowed in Islam, then what the fuck are we doing with the whole Shia and Sunni sets in then? And the Wahhabis and all this good stuff. I mean, if that was the case. But like I said, he has zero understanding of Islam. Or really just how things go in the Middle East. And I think if a lot of conservatives actually understood Middle Eastern politics and actually what goes on there, you wouldn't really be so fearful of Islam and you'd be more upset of our foreign policy.
By the grace of Allah is an oxymoron.
I know. There are so many misconceptions about jihad. I'm here to clear that up a little bit. It's not what you think.
No. See, I thought it was about waging a holy war against all non-Muslims involving subjugation, conversion, or ultimately execution.
No, actually, it's about invoking Islamic law. Actually, it's like, that's the funny thing about it, though. Well, no, wait, my bad. That's Sharia law. My bad, that's Sharia law. But if we actually go into jihad, which we will, well, here it is. Now, jihad is an Arabic term literally meaning striving or struggling in the path of God, taking both spiritual and physical forms. While often used for personal, moral, or social improvement, it is also encompassed encompasses defense against injustice or, in militant context, violent actions. So really, jihad can damn near be something like against yourself, like, oh, I've been gambling a lot, I have to do jihad against myself to go against this physical, problem that I'm going against. And I know I've heard Muslims explain it like this. Yeah, people do jihad on themselves, and then they can do jihad against other people who are what? Pretty much, committing injustice and military actions against them. So that's what it means in full context. So you could do jihad on yourself and other people.
That's actually pretty good. It's exactly what you think. Nailed it!
Muhammad was not only involved in the commanding of killing certain women, committed domestic violence against his wife Aisha, said that women constituted a majority of hell, but there was actually a dame who was stoned to death.
Actually, no, never committed never beat Aisha. Actually, never did. It's actually funny. Aisha, from her own accounts, yes, from Aisha's own accounts, the prophet never hit her. Yes, they said the messenger of Allah, in her own accounts, never hit her. So where is he getting this from? And no, guys, you can look this up right now. Look it up. Did the Prophet Muhammad hit Aisha? And they'll tell you no. Even it comes from her own account that the Prophet Muhammad never put a finger on her, never bruised her. Now, I think there was a story where she was trying to follow him and he just pushed her like, yo, stay back. But that was it. But all right, let's keep it going.
As per his individual orders.
And here's like I show that so you
to death as per his individual orders.
And here's like I show that so you see the timeline, because I can't run from my record.
No.
And now I'm not someone who was on Fox News saying one thing and then my private text revealed that I hated Donald Trump and I thought he was a cancer in the party and I reviled the vote.
Guys, I'm not a Muslim. That's the funniest thing. So when you guys sit there and say F Allah and you're fake pedophile, I mean, like, first off, fake pedophile God. I mean, like I said, if you were talking about Islam, you're also calling the God of Jews and the God of Christians pedophilic as well. You know that, right? That's what I'm saying. You guys are like a little bit too ignorant. It's part of the Abrahamic religion. Like the Quran pretty much validates the Torah and the Bible and also validates Jesus's coming and his, not resurrection, because they believe that God pretty much played a trick on the crowd and pretty much just rose Jesus to the heavens. But either way, y'all both believe that the man's going to come back in the end of times. So it's kind of crazy to sit there, talk bad about Islam while not also understanding that you're also rejecting your own religion as well. Believe in all the prophets you do, believe in all the messiahs you do. So I don't really understand what the beef is.
Voters as the plebs of society. But I do have a track record of citing books versus Muhammad's own words, and being critical and believing that it's a threat. I've also grown up with it.
Yeah.
I've also grown up with it. I went to a school where a kid wore an I-Plane New York shirt, and I got in trouble because it almost came to blows, and I made fun of, it turns out he had cancer. I didn't know. I told him he looked like a walking penis with teeth, but I don't feel bad about it.
You shouldn't feel bad about it.
I've lived with it. I've lived it. I've experienced it, and I've communicated it to you. I would be embarrassed if I changed my view, and it would be a requirement of me. I would imagine you would require this of me to explain, well, actually, all of these facts and verses and historical context that I have provided with.
Nah, that is so true. What's funny? A lot of people forget also that, Christians, bro, if you're not a Christian, they'll ostracize you out the community sometimes. You can't even live in certain places unless you're a Christian. So to sit there and judge Muslims for doing the same thing Christians do is absolutely hilarious, by the way. That's what I'm saying. It's like they don't even look at they don't even look at themselves at a certain point.
References. I was wrong about all of that because, and you know what? I was wrong about all of that because the Jews told me so. Ain't gonna do it. They don't seem to care because theirs has just been, oh yeah, Islam, bad, right? Migrants. Tommy Robinson is still out there right now fighting against the Islamicization of the West. That still is a very key battle. You know what's happening? The epicenter is becoming...
No, here's the thing. We can sit there and talk about UK's immigration problem, and I'll agree with you all day. But when you sit there and say, oh, it's a Muslim problem, well, that's where I kind of got to disagree with you. because you bring in any number of people and it's going to be a problem. You bring in a whole bunch of Indians, you're going to be talking about an Indian problem. I mean, and that's the funny thing is that they do, and they don't talk about an Indian problem. And actually, the most brought in immigrant were Indians into the UK, but nobody wants to talk about Indians though. So you kind of see how things are kind of skewed. No, look this up. Look up how much the most brought in immigrant into the UK, and you'll be surprised because it ain't Muslims.
The Meadow or the Meadows in Texas. You don't think that's a threat? Anywhere, let me be really clear.
Well, actually, here's the problem. You know what? I do think that's a threat. I do think that, any culture to try to cut off their own little city inside of America, yeah, that's a threat. So are you going to go there and kick out all the Jews out of New York and New Jersey? Because they got their own police, own hospitals, no churches, no mosques, no nothing, just synagogues. So, and that's exactly what the Muslims are trying to do. So are you going to go there and bitch about the Muslims doing the same thing? Are you going to go there and bitch about the Chinese doing the same thing on Canal Street in New York City? Are you? Oh, no? Okay, then shut the fuck up. Because I'm sorry, but now y'all just picking and choosing, and that's where it gets annoying. Because I'm just like, oh, no, I'm with y'all. But then now y'all just like, oh, but only Muslims, though. I was like, no. If we're going to do it to Muslims, we got to do it to everybody. Like, nobody can have themselves a little cut off in America, and they all got to assimilate to American culture. No, you're not just going to let the Jews go ahead and do whatever they want or let the Muslims do whatever they want. No, all of them are going to get the hammer brought down on them. Equal.
Anywhere Islam becomes a majority, you're done. That's it.
Yeah.
Curtains. It's never gone another way.
Like bed bugs.
Effectively. So it's now incumbent upon the people saying, now I've had to re-examine my line of thinking. Okay. That's the first 20% of this statement. You've had to re-examine it. And what's your line of thinking now? Oh, Muslims like Jesus because they say he was a teacher but deny his divinity. You got to give us a little bit more than that.
Well, remember, they said he's the Messiah, and it's not really denying his divinity. They're denying the Son of God part, because actually, no, Muslims recognize Jesus's miracles. They also said that Jesus spoke as a baby to defend his mother's honor. So, I mean, they even mention a miracle that not the Bible doesn't even mention. So, no, they recognize all of Jesus's miracles and his divinity as the Messiah, but they do not see him as the Son of God because they see God as only being one and nothing can be at God's level. So they have such a respect for God or Allah that they can never put anything on his level. Now, the way Christians see it is that Jesus is on the same level as God. They're the one and the same. But Muslims, they just don't see that. They see God as being one and Jesus being the Messiah and the messenger or the anointed one.
Rumble Wallet. Keep your crypto safe, even when you are at your most vulnerable.
Okay. Unload the crypto. And the fact that this has all happened seemingly in unison, where it's like, wait, hold on a second. Islam is not a threat. Well, we've all been fighting against that for a very long time.
Yeah.
Democrats aren't that bad.
No, that's not really denying his divinity. Denying his divinity all the way through would be saying, no, he wasn't the Messiah. No, he didn't commit no miracles. But Muslims recognize all that. So I think you guys are being a bit intellectually dishonest when you talk about his divinity, because Elijah had divinity as well because he was a Messiah and he committed miracles. So, yeah. And so you can't really say they deny all of his divinity. No, they just deny him being, the same as God. And I don't really see anything wrong with that. Like, I don't necessarily agree, but I mean, look, long as we can agree that the man's coming back at the end, I think we can be cool.
What?
And also understand that, through Western intervention, we done radicalized a lot of these Muslims to who they are today. And bomb some of these guys back into slavery as well. But, we don't want to mention that when we talk about what's going on in the Middle East, do we?
They're all the same. Well, then why did you endorse Donald Trump? Megyn Kelly, is this the same thing that Megyn Kelly would apply to, having trans children and supporting it on her show when she was on a mainstream network? also doing the Me Too thing, which may or may not have happened at Fox News, that film Bombshell, being a feminist and anti-Trump until she went online, realized you can't survive, carrying the legacy media talking points, and now going, oh, there might be a new audience of Islamic people who, by the way, seek the destruction of the West. When this is very important.
Actually, no, the Islamic people just want the West to leave them the F alone and stop trying to overthrow their countries, stop doing the economic sanctions. That's what they truly want. If you ask them, if you actually ask these guys, you said, hey, yo, hey, we want you to stop taking over the West. They'll hit you with we don't want to take over the West. We want the West to stop trying to take over us. Like, what do you mean? Like, take over the West? Like, please tell us a recent Western country we took over. I'm telling you, this is how the Muslims will look at us, like we fucking crazy. Like, dog, you just overthrew Syria. Look what you did to Afghanistan. Look what you did to Libya. Look what you're letting the UAE do to Sudan. But you're saying we're the ones wanting to take over? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, hell no.
I've talked about this a few times. It's kind of a cliche where they'll point to people going like, well, if you don't like it here in the United States, if you think that Castro's regime is so good, why don't you go there? Well, if you think it's so great in Iran, why don't you go over there? Here's the thing. It may be someone who sounds silly or ignorant saying it doesn't mean that it's wrong. It's just like when people say, well, I'm not racist. I have a lot of black friends. People on the left go, so you think that defends you? It's actually a perfectly legitimate defense. The fact that it's sort of become cliche because it's been used so much doesn't mean it's invalid. It means that it's been used so much because, generally speaking, someone who hates black people wouldn't have a lot of close black friends. Someone saying, if you don't like it here in this country and you think it's better in insert country here, Iran, UAE, Nicaragua, Mexico, Saudi Arabia, Canada, right? If you think it's better there,
nobody's saying that it's better there. We're saying stop villainizing these people so you can have excuses to try to overthrow their country or overthrow their government. That's what we're saying. We're saying just like, stop villainizing them so you have a reason to go over there and try to take them over. That's it. I mean, if we're so scared of them and we fear them so much, why the fuck are we always involved in their politics? Like, let's be real here. Like, at a certain point, we're not making sense here. And like I said, talking about Muslims trying to take over when we've been toppling every Muslim country in the Middle East is hilarious. And then the ones we don't topple is literally we control. Hilarious, guys, how we're having this Muslim takeover. Like, it's real funny.
Why don't you move there? You are free to do so. Yeah. There is an answer, though. And that's the important part. The answer is that if someone says these other countries, these other regimes, communist China, communist Cuba, the Islamic world, it's better than the United States, and they stay here. The answer is they are staying here to subvert this country to the point.
Well, why are they here? Why are they here, Crowder? Why? Because we recklessly bombed their country. We supported warlords and dictators and made their country unlivable. Oh, yeah, in a fucking war zone. Like the Somalians? Yeah, the Somali people? Yeah. That's exactly what we did. We supported a warlord. It turned into a war zone, and we had to bring a whole bunch of Somalis over here. The same Somali that you guys are bitching about. Well, guess why they're here? Because of Middle Eastern intervention. The same Middle Eastern intervention that y'all ain't seem to learn y'all lesson from because you're supporting it today.
That it becomes like theirs. That's why they're staying here.
Mm-hmm. This is their strategy.
No, they're staying here because we completely destroyed their country. Like, Syrians are here because it's an all-out war in Syria because we toppled their regime. People from Afghanistan are all the way over here because we've destroyed the government and we let the Taliban take over. People in Libya are here because their government's been destroyed. People in Sudan are here because we let UAE terrorize them with their proxies. So I'm sorry, but it's really hard to hear that argument when we're literally the cause of it.
And blowing people up failed. And we lived through that. That's the reason that I'm on this show, is because I used to come and comment on what was going on in the world when somebody invariably every few months blew themselves up or shot up Charlie Hebdo or shot at people that were at an art festival somewhere in Texas that had the Prophet Muhammad painted incorrectly, right? Invariably it happened. And I would just like to ask Megyn Kelly, I think all of this is bullshit. Tell me when you changed your mind. Because in January, you were saying exactly the opposite. And the reason I bring that up, it's not like you couldn't have gotten new information from January to today.
Because if you actually got a brain, I'm sorry, let me not be too mean, but if you actually understand pattern recognition, you would understand how they sold the same Muslim hate to us during 9/11 to get us into this Iraq war, or to get us into the Iraq war. You'd understand how that's all they do is sell us hatred of people and to get us into a conflict. And we fall for it every single time. And I'm telling you guys right now, this whole hatred propaganda of Islam is to sell you into the next Middle Eastern conflict because you're feeling like you're liberating people from Islam when really, excuse me, but you're liberating people from their sovereignty. Because did we liberate Afghanistan from Islam? Nope. Did we liberate Syria from Islam? Nope. So what are we doing here? And like I said, it's real funny how we're talking about a Muslim takeover when we've been the one toppling their countries. Like, that's hilarious. Like, it's really funny how we came up with that. And I know somebody in the chat said, little by little, bro, we're doing it country by country. I'm sorry, but what little by little? 5% of America's Muslims. Like, at this point, you guys sound crazy even saying that there's a Muslim takeover with 5%. And there's over 100 million Christians. But we're about 5 million Muslims. 1% of the country. Like, this is crazy.
I'll grant you that is. But help me understand what parts of Islam.
Here's the thing. Christianity is probably the second biggest faith that's growing, not Islam. There's more people turning to Christianity than Islam in America. So I really don't know what the fear is and why y'all crying so much. But it is what it is. Or, I mean, not gonna say crying, but why are y'all so apprehensive towards Islam?
You were enlightened about that are no longer antithetical to the West, as you said. What values that Islam says that they have and want to have for the rest of the world? What parts of Sharia law are now in line with Christianity and the Constitution of the United States? Help me understand, because what it sounds like is somebody said it's all been the.
Oh, but I don't know. What was it? Babosta? Yeah, I wasn't even paying attention to you, dude. I'm sorry. What were you talking about? It's kind of funny. Like, here's the part where the host bans me. I'm like, well, if that's what you want, I'll do it for you. Like, why not? I mean, you're asking for it, so I got you.
Use this entire time, and you bought it. Do me a favor. Help me understand why Hindus hated Muslims prior to the creation of the state of Israel.
Like, guys, you can disagree with me, and that's perfectly fine. I have no problem with you disagreeing with me whatsoever. Obviously not. But come on now. Don't sit there and cry and act like I'm scared to engage you. It's just I'm not looking at you right now. And I mean, look, you can super chat in, or you can hope that I catch it when I look down, but don't cry about it.
Let me understand that. If it's the Jews that are doing this everywhere, you telling me that there's Hindu Jews out there doing this?
I'm sure there are a few.
Doesn't make sense.
Hindu.
Yeah, Hindu. And by the way, they are the cheapest of the cheap. You combine the two, they're tipping in pennies.
You know what? I did leave out one possible scenario. She didn't know what she was talking about to begin with.
Well, I'll leave one more.
Oh, you guys don't know what y'all talking about when it comes to Islam. So y'all don't even know what y'all talking about to begin with. Y'all still believe the same anti-Islam propaganda. So y'all are going to support every single war we get into in the Middle East, or every single conflict, because you think we're liberating people of Islam. You're still foolish enough to think that. Like, that's the problem. And every time we got the American public to think that, what do? Get right into a conflict with a Middle Eastern country. Every single time. You don't see the pattern yet, or you need it to happen again?
Possible scenario. There are quite a few new listeners here.
Oh, wait. 56 billion?
Yeah, quite a few new listeners here.
Every show.
And I'm not just talking about Islam. I'm talking about the left that seeks to subvert it. Let me ask you this. AOC. Do you think that AOC is in our government because she wants to return America to its Christian traditional roots?
Hell no. Come on now. It's AOC. We know damn well she don't care about Christian traditional roots. But here's the problem with you Christian extremists. is that, yeah, here's the thing. There were some founders who did not like Christianity, and they seen it to do exactly what you're doing today, Steven Crowder. What you're doing today is exactly what James Madison warned about when it came to Christianity. You know what? Let me go ahead and pull up my man James Madison's quote on Christianity, because it was, it was pretty informative. And why? Because it kind of shows that, we had a lot of different thinkers who founded this country, not just a whole bunch of Christian men. And the thinkers who thought outside of Christianity kind of seen that, you guys kind of lead things to bigotry. And, we left the Christian country because it didn't allow freedom of speech. So for you guys to say that, freedom of speech is a Christian value is absolutely hilarious, because it wasn't that way throughout history. I'll tell you that. Until you guys came here with a bunch of guys who weren't Christians either. And we came up with freedom of speech. Now you're saying it's a Christian value when people who did not believe in Christianity all came up with it. I mean, bro, if we had it straight Christians, then we'd have blasphemy laws. So no, Christians don't believe in freedom of speech when it comes to their religion. And neither do Muslims, and neither do Jews. It is what it is. But that's why we got separation of church and state. And thank God we had founding fathers who weren't Christians, who actually thought outside of the guidelines of Christianity. So we wouldn't have this great country. Believe it or not.
Do you think she's a representative because she loves America and wants to improve America to what it's meant to be? Or do you think she would rather America be like Cuba? Do you think she would rather America be like Venezuela or Bernie Sanders? Do you think he's in office because he loves freedom, pursuit of happiness, First Amendment, Second Amendment rights, and he wants a traditional Christian nationalist viewpoint as the founder?
Yeah, see, and here's the thing, though. The Christian nationalist viewpoint, that's the problem. It's just like, it kind of seems like you guys just want an excuse just to hate people. Really just to hate Muslims. And then here's the problem. I mean, once y'all done with Muslims, who's next? Because then y'all going to turn your focus to the Hindus, and then you're going to go to others, start going down the line of races of people. So who's next? That's what I wonder. But all right, though.
Founding fathers, or do you think he believes breadlines are a good thing and he'd like to bring them here? Do you think that Karen Bass, mayor of Los Angeles, do you think she's mayor of Los Angeles because she wants Los Angeles to be a wonderful city, an example of American exceptionalism, where your hard work is rewarded and our industrious nature, right? We're a shining city on a hill. Or do you think, for the same reason that she traveled to Cuba dozens of times under a fake program that allows her to take part in their propaganda programs under the guise of construction, do you think she would rather make Los Angeles more like Cuba? Record homelessness, entitlement programs.
So let's go into what one of the founding fathers was talking about. I believe this was James Madison. But let's get it. The effects of established religion in 1975. My bad. 1785 memorial and remonstrance. Okay, yes, against religious assessments. Now, Madison argued that 15 centuries of established Christianity had produced pride in insolence in the clergy, ignorance, and, well, let's see here, a rise in both bigotry and persecution. So, oh yes, and also superstition as well. Yeah, I mean, come on, no, but back in the day, Christians were pretty superstitious. Also, Madison warned that a religious sect may have degenerated into a political faction. So, Christian nationalism, and I mean, bro, the founding fathers was calling y'all out from the beginning. They said, hey, man, if we let some of these Christians get a little too crazy, these guys are going to start getting a bit crazy. It's going to start being superstition, bigotry, and persecution. The bigotry against what? Islam, persecution of what? You know what? If you ask the Dems, and I'm not trying to be a Dem here, but you could say the persecution of like what? Brown people or the immigrants, which I'm all for, because they do need to get the hell up out of here, especially if they're undocumented. But hey, it is what it is. And of course, superstition. Christian Zionism. We will say Christian Zionism, the best example of Christian superstition and going a bit too damn far. Bit too far. The rest of y'all are cool though. And thing is, I love Christianity and I love the religion of Islam. I love both of them. The problem is, though, I just hate how they be at each other's neck when both of them be on bullshit, but both of them have their benefits. All right. But do you want, yes, and shout out to separation of church and state, because our founding fathers and a lot of them understood that, if you let one religion take over, it be Islam or Christianity, we're going to have a lot of effing problems. But the problem is today that there are literally people like Steven Crowder who want the same thing the Muslims want. Basically Christian nationalism to take over. Yeah, and they want Islamic nationalism to take over. You want Christianity to take over America, they want Islam to take over America. I guess you guys can kumbaya over that. But all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and head on out, man. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure to double tap that screen, like the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already by hitting that icon above. And like I said, make sure to smash that like button. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next one. Appreciate the support, guys. Peace. Wait, no, before I leave out, though, make sure. But yeah, all right, then. Peace. Yo, this is S.E.T with S.E.T Media, man. I'm here to talk to you about our partner, Kalshi. Kalshi is the largest legal prediction market in the United States with over 1 million users. It's available in all 50 states. They are a real money market. People trading on what they think will happen. You can build a position and trade in and out of almost any prediction you think. Kalshi facilitates trade between people, kind of like the stock market. There's no limiting your trades just because you're winning. Kalshi will pay you interest on your position. So if you make a long-term trade, you can earn a return even before the market is resolved. If you want to try out Kalshi, go ahead and give them a try, guys, at my link, kalshi.com/setmedia. Get $20 when you trade 20, so it's 20 for 20, guys. Once again, that's kalshi.com/setmedia. Go ahead and use my code SETmedia to get $20 when you trade 20. Let's go ahead and take a look here at Kalshi, because like I said, it is a trading market where you can put in your prediction and you can go ahead and earn interest on that. You can make money off the knowledge that you know, and if you put $20 in, you get $20 back. So all right, guys, make sure to go check out my guy at Kalshi, because you can get in on good trades like who will Trump nominate as Fed chair? Will Ali Khamenei be outed as the supreme leader? And will the U.S. confirm that aliens exist before 2027? So if you want to get in on this action, once again, go ahead and go to my partners at Kalshi. Go ahead and use the link, or you can hit the QR code above and use SET Media to go ahead and get $20 when you trade 20. This is SET from SET Media, and shout out to Kalshi.